stream. Hopefully we're on. We got audio, video. Guys, welcome, girls, people, living beings. Welcome to our stream. Alright, everybody. We're doing some game analysis tonight. My hand, I just got this really weird pain in my left hand, which I use for like nothing. Ow. I don't know what that is. Getting old. Anyway, alright. Going live with subscriber game analysis. Join us for serious chess analysis. Anyway, whatever. Post it. Close this tab. Ready to go. Welcome, everybody. I'm usually a little bit late on Thursdays getting started here. JCS, Schieberspieler, Mr. Slow, Asterbait. The Arena Champ is here. Arena Champ running away with the tournament. You snuck up there. Congratulations, Mr. Slow. You had a solid performance. I've got a bunch of games. If you're not on the following list, let me know. Sadamasa, Mr. Slow, is second in the list. Move E, aka Move 11. Schieberspieler, Eubatis, Princess, Asterbait, and Sumahair. That's 4-8. You know, I've got time for like 2 more games from late submissions or other people that I otherwise forgot. If you're late or I forgot you, let me know. Alright. Today we're gonna follow the Russian rail workers tournament. No, I'm just kidding. Ow. Yeah, my hand hurts. Any cure for getting old? He won the arena on Tuesday. Yes, sort of came out of nowhere. I'm used to the Swisses. I like the Swisses. But I decided to throw out an arena. Actually, JCS, you were here. Were you here at the beginning? Yeah, just... that's a cure. Sort of. Air things. Why did you say air things? Now the Magnus tournament, you know, with the... Magnus is now playing the Bomb Cloud for both colors. I know a lot of people are pretty pissed about it. I think it's a travesty. That Magnus is like an overgrown child playing the Bomb Cloud in tournaments that are supposed to be serious. I've basically lost any interest in his tournaments. What little interest I had left is now gone. Bijak says, can someone send the game so I am not last? I'm sure they will, Bijak. So let me know if anybody else... Oh, you also won the arena. Wait, it got canceled. That was in another dimension. It's like Star Trek. In another dimension, you actually won the arena. Schieberspieler. Alternate reality. You were the winner on Tuesday. So welcome to our stream, guys and girls. As I said on the Tuesday stream, you know, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. I played badly. I'm not happy with the way I played. I need to play more and get more practice. I'm kind of rusty. Alright, we've got Sadamasa, Mr. Slow, Move 11, Schieber, and that list. If anybody I've forgotten, let me know. So we're going to start here before it gets any later. Check my messages for hate mail. No, seriously, this is the best way to locate these messages. Oops. Oh, that was weird, man. I mean, I clicked it, I typed in the name, and then something else popped up. What the heck? Alright, Sadamasa. He submitted first. On the 12th. The end is nigh. I didn't notice that. Got mysterious quotes. Like I told you. I missed it. I missed your comment. The end is nigh. That's the first game for today. Sadamasa. Alright, you're playing black in the submitted game. I don't know what this cryptic message means. The end is near. Ouch. Why does my hand hurt for no reason? I didn't hurt it and it hurts anyway. Muscle pains. Alright, Bill Nye, the science guy. D4, he's black here. So we're going to look at these interesting subscriber games. We've still got room for 2 more from the subscribers, up to 2 more. But I'm cutting it at 10. I'm not doing more than 10. BG, welcome. D4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3. And now bishop g7, dubious. Okay, thank you for the analysis there, Stockfish. Bishop g7 is not dubious. I wish we didn't have that enabled. That's deceptive and wrong. I admit that playing the King's Indian is harder than Grunfeld, but we're not going to call the King's Indian defense dubious. Alright, ridiculous commentary from the robotic engine analysis or whatever. Please don't show my game when I'm not here. I gotta go for a while, but if you keep the order, I should be back when it would be my turn. Okay, we'll hold you till you get back if you're not here. Alright, so e4, d6, and now Uncle Herman. An unusual move order. Arthur Bisgeyer played this against me in our iconic encounter in the King's Indian. Did he though? Maybe he didn't. I don't remember. We had the 4 pawns attack where Bisgeyer did like either bishop e2 f4 or f4 bishop e2. Now I can't remember. It was like 25. It was more than that. It was almost 30 years ago. That's crazy. I played art in like 1992. That was almost 30 years ago. That's insane. Alright. I'd like to find some of my old games in my piles of score sheets I have like somewhere in a bag in my storage unit. I hope that I have all my games. One day, maybe on my deathbed, I'll start getting my old games together. Castles, knight f3. So all that for nothing. Like, why is he playing this bishop e2 move order? It doesn't have a point. We either play bishop g5 or f4, or the what's his name, Prem 666, with some sort of g4. There's coffee house h4 type of stuff, but I don't see the point of playing this for no reason. Okay, knight f3. Does it avoid something for white? I mean, is there a point to playing bishop e2 then knight f3? Getting your games together on the deathbed is a little too late. Alright, you're right. Yeah, that's a little too late. If I get back to the States, I'm going to get my games together. I'm new now, not having a mustache. I just lost like 10 years. I got a lot of years left. It avoids bishop g4 without castling. Like, as if that's something important to avoid. I mean, I think like classically no one cares, but that's the point. I don't really know if it's... I don't think it's something I necessarily want to avoid. Black should be able... I mean, white should be able to get some advantage against the bishop g4. I would imagine. But okay, it's a point. Thanks, Sheeperspieler. That's true. Snuggles the Snail, welcome. So you have e5, and then... Oh, no. Takes on e5. That's always fun. This is why I used to play... And seriously, I used to play knight on bd7. And when I quit playing knight on bd7, I started playing knight a6. Because I seriously don't like playing against the exchange variation. I had 2 draws against IMs with black. I remember Jay Bonin and Georgi Orlov both played the exchange King's Indian against me with the white pieces, and we had draws. But it's just lame. But it is drawish. It's very hard for black to play for a win here. But he's not worse, not less chances than white, I would suppose. So take. I remember once seeing like a Rajabov game where he was able to win. Bishop g5, this is normal. So now, c6 is like the modern move. So our hero for this game is black. Yeah, of course. White couldn't be a hero playing the exchange, King's Indian. You can't be a hero. What is %53, Sadamasa? That's irrelevant. Let's turn that off. No. Those are lichess games. That's meaningless. I was telling somebody today, because the opening explorer is broken, I have it set on lichess games. Those statistics have no meaning. The only thing you can do with lichess games is like find a random Grandmaster game like somewhere. It's like digging for gold nuggets or something. The chance of finding a good game in the lichess database. The only thing I've found is like once in a while, like people using computers, cheating with computers played some really interesting ideas. Other than that, you can just like throw it away. No, unfortunately, the opening explorer is busted. So let's not pay any attention to those statistics. Rook e8 is old school. I played this both my games against Bonin and with Orlov. So knight d5, cd5, c6, bishop c4. And now you played cd5. But, there's another move here, which I played against Jay, which Tal played. If you want to try... if you want to try... Omnodism, I don't know what you're talking about. Would you like to clarify? Alright. Bishop c4, b5 is an interesting move. These statistics are irrelevant. That's why I'm going to turn it off. Because the games are garbage. So, garbage in, garbage out. If you have garbage input in your statistics are irrelevant. The Masters database is okay. It's still missing a lot of games, but the lichess one, I would pretty much dismiss it altogether. So b5 is an interesting try. Bishop e3, a5. I had some game where I can't remember now how it went. I think like a4 and bishop e7 or something. This is riskier for black though. I mean the way that Sadamasa played, but honestly, like winning this is not. I don't know, man. I saw some King's Indian book where someone was recommending like takes and knight d7. This was the latest thing at one point. I mean, traditionally, like the line you played here was recommended, but how are you going to beat like a 2000 player who's really solid with black here? Like you're never going to win. I mean, mainly first of all, you should play c6 at move 9. Don't give them the opportunity to trade all these pieces with like knight to d5. First of all. This is not a great line for white. If they try to take the pawn on e5. So this is the way to go if you want to play for a win. This is just good for a draw. Rook e8, knight d5, take, c6, bishop c4. Again, b5 last chance, really, I think objectively to play for a win. This is like drawish now, and knight c6. And, I mean, white can find ways to lose, I suppose, if he's not a skilled player. But the bishop on d5 is really strong. I don't remember, though. I mean, I've never played this for black. I always played b5. Maybe I played this position in some blitz games, but white, on the one hand, can play bishop takes c6 and damage black structure, but then the white square bishop's really strong. So it's tough for white to decide, you know. Dude needs to take some serious drugs. I can't believe castles queenside is a move. Wow. Wow. Is that really a move? Again, I can't go by the lichess opening explorer, and I never played this move. I never played like takes and knight c6 myself, maybe once in a blitz game, but I don't remember. That's crazed. Castles queenside into the open line here. The engine looks like it thinks it's okay for white. You gotta be out of your mind. I mean, wow. I guess because the queens are off the board, it's actually possible. I would never consider castling queenside. I mean, it does bring the rook to open file, though. So maybe this is a known idea. Wow. In any case, black shouldn't be in any real danger. I mean, there's ways you could get bad position, like take here, rook d7, and he gets on the 7th rank, and you're slightly worse, I guess. Even here, I imagine that black probably has chances to hold if he's careful, like rook c8, king b1, for example, f6, maybe. We have a little problem with b7, though. Anyway, my point is, I don't want to let him get on the 7th rank. We don't want to give him a good endgame. There's got to be a way to avoid that. So, bishop g4, threatening knight d4. I don't really want to give up our white square bishop. He has a monster on d5, but we have tactical threats. And opposite color bishops, we should be able to hold a draw. Now he takes, and I guess you can play rook c8, right? Statistics, Mr. Coffee. The actuary among us. Bishop takes c6, rook c8. Are you actuary into statistics? That sounds stupid. Alright. What about this move, though? Seriously. What are you going to do? For example, rook d6. There's some perverse variations here, like bishop f8. Now what does white do? What a ridiculous position. Rook f6. That can't be right, master. Bishop e7. This is just ridiculous. How does this happen? What a position. What am I analyzing here? So seriously, did you have that? Even if you lose this pawn, man, your white square bishop and your bishop pair is so strong. You probably have comp. Rook d6. And then unleash the beast. Oof, that's strong. Wait, I don't know, man. I don't put my king on. I'm not putting my king on the queen side here. Yeah, I mean, you could win in an endgame if, for example, he gives you that a pawn, like rook takes c6, bishop takes a2. I could see two bishops and like white losing the pawn on b2 and losing the endgame. I'm not putting my king on c1 in this line. Anyways, he shouldn't have taken. So he takes, take, here, here, b3, a5, good move. Takes a4. And now, I mean, white should just try to grovel for a draw, right? Grovel, grovel. Start groveling. How does he grovel for a draw here? King b2? That's a fun diagonal. Aren't you glad you put your king on the queen side? He literally did that. Wow. Nice diagonal. Bam. The b3 pawn. He is up a pawn, though. Temporarily. Yeah, I mean, compensation. Here. I was expecting rook c3. What about knight d2? That's also possible. Your two bishops are just too strong, man. How about bishop f8? That's what you played. Unfortunately, you can't play f5. This threatens a disruptive bishop a3 check. Also bishop b4, and it's a draw. It's just a draw. You just took the pawn directly. I mean, you could also play this, I guess. I don't know. You know, I don't like this pin and like bishop f6 particularly. You know, I don't think I'd want to risk that. Like, what do you do after bishop f6? Do you plan on like drawing a pawn down rook endgame or something? Maybe it was safer to play bishop e4. I mean, this isn't 100% either, right? You actually lost this game? Bishop e4, bishop f6 isn't a move. Yeah, I mean, what does he do now? It's a draw. It is a draw. Fact. So this was lazy chess, is what it is. Bishop takes b3 is like lazy chess, but you're leaving yourself in an endgame where you've got back rank problem, the bad bishop, and then your pawn on e5 is weak, his pawn's on the right color. It's a nightmare combination. I mean, maybe this is a draw, but I see how it went wrong. I was expecting him to play this, actually. How do you defend after bishop f6 exactly? Because I'm not quite sure. Do you have rook b8? And like, do you have some sort of trick? I mean, objectively this is a draw, right? But it's not like a walk in the park, automatic draw. You're going to have to play 30 more moves to prove that this 4 against 3 endgame is a draw. Turkey Farm, welcome. Welcome, guys. Please support the stream if you can. Donate. Appreciate it. WJ Loof, Cash Maui, and the Cheese Mate donated this week. Appreciate it, guys. Wiggly chess. No, that's a draw, but I wouldn't want to suffer, you know. And if you're playing 2 games a day or something, you know, you want to conserve your energy. You don't want to sit there having to draw like a 5 or 6 hour game and then play like the next round or something. So you want to draw in the easiest way possible. It looks like bishop e4 is pretty straightforward. I mean, I guess he had this move. But if we calculate a little bit, I would assume that black is alright. Check. If king a2, rook a8, check. Let's see, king a2, rook a8, check, king b1. It's actually not that simple, but I think you have a lot of activity here. You definitely should be active enough to draw with active defense. Active defense, best choice. So, what happened in the game was what? Rook takes b3, bishop what? Here. It looks like no big deal, right? Don't you just have king g7? Oh, you lost this. So it's just an automatic draw. So he actually, I thought he had a chance here with bishop f6. What's the deal? Rook b8. Yeah, that's the best line. Check out Stockfish. Bishop takes e5, bishop g7 equal. Wow, that's like presumptive, isn't it? I mean, the thing is that White's king is in the worst possible position in this 4-on-3 endgame. It's kind of funny. How's he going to get his king across? So the engine is just calling it a draw, even though white's up a pawn in that endgame. Alright, anyway, I guess it wouldn't be a 3-hour ordeal. It doesn't matter. You didn't... There's no way you should lose this position. I don't understand. It was like a bullet game or something? You lost? But I mean, you know, if anything, you should play like rook here. Now you're winning. After rook d3. You're just winning. Instructive mistake, by the way. Rook d3, and if he plays rook b8, rook d2 check, rook b2, are we winning? Maybe you're not. You're not close enough. He's there in time to stop you. Probably a draw. Wow. So rook d3, rook b8. What about this? Does this matter? For example? Do we have a clear win? I mean, you can induce more weaknesses with rook d4. Forcing f3. But I'm not sure how much progress that makes. Maybe you get in here? I still don't see how you're getting in. Check. Rook b2. White just hanging on. It looks like. I'm guessing this king and pawn game is a draw, right? So what do we have that's better? Rook d3. So the engine has something crazy. So king g5 right away. I'm skeptical. I assumed that he would have counterplay, but then you go rook d2. So king g5 is like a tempo game. Maybe black is actually winning here. It's pretty cool. Rook b2. Now what? King f4. But now he has rook down. Then he loses rook check. Is this clear? This is a mess. It's still not over. Very complicated rooking game, actually. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if white has lost 100% here. But black has great chances to win. Obviously a better try. Okay, king f6, whatever. We got to this position. Then rook b4, f3, h5. Nice job, you're trying. So it would be better to play king f4 first. You were probably concerned about this, but you can always play f5. I mean, this is similar to the variation we looked at. Black is clearly better, almost winning. Unfortunately, we have no penetration now with the king. What about f5? So f5. You also have rook d4. Maybe you're just winning here. Rook d4, rook c2, rook here, and like f5. I mean, this looks pretty bad. This looks really bad for white. Like he's gonna have to take, and now you have a passer. I mean, it still might not be enough to win though. Tricky stuff. So anyway, what happened here? Whoa. This was a bullet game. It's the bullet game at this point. f4. Now you could lose. So is that losing? Wow. Maybe f4 is losing. f4, g4, king f6, king c4, king e6. Are you lost? Oh, there was rook g2. Wow, so you have some insane stalemate defense? Are you kidding me? That's messed up. Black would be lost, but he stalemates himself. Oh man, that's Wonderful position. Wow. This is very, very rare. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Slow. Good call. Very rare position. I mean, Black's basically lost, except for the fact that he's not, because he stalemates himself with G5. That's perverse. I don't remember the last time I saw an example of that. That's really funny. Mr. Slow, as a true King's Indian player, you've probably had an example of that somewhere pop up in your games. That's cool. You saw that in a Schieberspieler. What a coincidence! He saw it in a Schieberspieler video. All right, Turkey Farm, you're just in time. All right, guys, that was a long game but fun. So anyway, he ended up losing, missing the stalemate defense, and he let him in. I mean, it's lost. But I mean, it was a 3-0 game, and the last part of the game was all played in like 30 seconds, which is typical. Exchange variation is nothing, but it's not easy to play for a win. All right, anyway, move 11, no. Mr. Slow up next. Mr. Slow.
Yes!
All right, let's do it. Inbox. Mr. Slow. Another King's Indian? Cool. Alright, this was a Simul win in the kid against an NM streaming his Simul. He was quite a nice guy. Let's check it out. I'm a great player, but not a nice guy. Can the Caro win? He's fan of play on words. Fan of play on words. Mr. Slow with Black. I don't like to see the graph because it biases me. Let me turn that off. No. Alright, no. Move times. Alright. Graph bias. Graph biases my analysis. Mr. Slow is Black. Another King's Indian. King's Indian theme analysis stream. Welcome everybody to my stream. If you're new here, we're going over submitted games from our subscribers every week, every Thursday. I shave up and look presentable for our Thursday stream. More beautiful than ever. Only one comment about how handsome I am today. Bishop G7, E4. But I appreciate that. One of our newest followers had to mention it. D6, Bishop E2 again? What? Is this like a instant replay? Same move order as last game. Castles, Knight F3, exactly the same, E5. And now the Gligorich variation with Bishop E3. I'll get all kinds of comments. Bob does anything but talk about the important stuff. He commented on my decor last stream. How I look is more important, obviously, than the chess stuff. So Mr. Slowhand, being a senior like myself, almost senior, probably remembers like Karpov-Kasparov had a number of games in the World Championship match in 1990 with the Gligorich system. It was very popular back in the 90s. I actually played it with White for a time. Not a long time, but a few interesting games when I was getting close to master strength and beyond. I tried almost everything with White, honestly, except maybe the Averbach variation. But Mr. Slow now plays C6. I mean, everyone knows like Knight G4 is traditionally the main move for Black in this position, and there's also versions of like there's versions of it where it happens after like this, and also this, so you get a kind of delayed Gligorich-like variation, but this is the true Gligorich. Bishop e3. Hold on a second. So there's other moves. H6 was briefly popular. Knight c6 is supposed to be a mistake. There was a scandal back in the 90s where we thought that this woman named Angelina Belikoskaya was really Max Sladgie in drag. And she played this against me, I think. Knight c6, d5, not knowing the theory. And I don't remember what happened. It was a draw with her. But it's like better for white. Like, this is bad for black. I think she wasn't the only one. I mean, I managed to draw with him. No, I'm just kidding. That was just a joke. That was the rumor. I don't know if it was true. But rook e8 is another move. Kind of weird. Pawn takes pawn is also Kasparov played against. Kasparov played Karpov. They had one game in this, I think. But it's like takes, rook e8, f3, then c6. I guess Sladgie at some point stopped for a while, and he was doing his trader thing in New York, and people were wondering, you know, is Sladgie secretly playing with another person's body or something? You know, this is old stuff, early '90s gossip. But seriously, I'm dating myself. Anyway, c6 right away. So what's the deal with this? I don't know. You could transpose to the exchange variation. It's an interesting idea. Are you just going to transpose? So white plays d5. That's the problem. That's probably like book recommendation, I would guess. I never really liked these structures where you're playing a closed King's Indian and you've played c6 to give white like an extra open line. So I don't like this for black. I would vote for playing the main lines with knight g4. Second choice takes and playing this open King's Indian with the surrender of the center. Okay, Mr. Slow goes his own way with c6. I'm sure this is a variation. d5 makes sense, and now knight a6, and now you've got some kind of weird sort of hybrid knight a6. I guess, how would this happen? Knight a6, we could transpose with knight a6 right away. It's a Petrosian system of a kind. Knight d2 looks like a good move. Versus Mr. Slow. And now knight e8. I don't know, we'll have to contact Andy Soltis. Soltis had games where he played some shady looking King's Indians where he would do like c5, but I don't like this. It looks like white could even go postal with g4 and play it like a Makaganov or something. I'm not a fan of this. I don't like this structure. We don't have any counterplay. It reminds me of the last game I lost. It reminds me of my last King's Indian that I lost against Miklos Galiash a couple of years ago. It looked something like this. I got a ridiculous position. He played actually it was an h3, but I got something about as beautiful as this was. Well, Topalov has played worse stuff than this, I guess. He played the modern Benoni, right? I mean, Topalov's also not a King's Indian authority. I mean, he is and was one of the greatest players of all time, but it's not like, hey, you know, Petronius recommends it, or Topalov is a man of many openings. I mean, I'm not saying it's like lost. I don't like it, and you know, knight e8 looks like normal move, but I'm concerned about g4. On the other hand, he doesn't have to go crazy. He can just play f3 and castle kingside. I'm not sure what he did here is right, though. He's not castling. I guess this is good, too. You basically transpose to some kind of weird Petrosian system. I don't like Black's game, theoretically. But I guess you have bishop h6 tricks. You know, so maybe White should make a decision here to play crazy with like g4 or castle and meet f5 with f3 and play it like a kind of normal Petrosian system. My concern was maybe that like his move order might allow you some bishop h6 trick. a3, f5, f3. Yeah, that's what happened. And Mr. Slow gets this trick in with bishop h6. Kramnik cheated. Yeah, I'll take Kramnik in that match. He didn't need to cheat to beat Topalov. But Topalov was at his peak, you know. But I would argue that Topalov's manager probably handicapped him more than helped him. It was such a distraction. I don't know how anybody could concentrate with all that ridiculous distraction going on around the match between Kramnik and Topalov. It probably didn't help Topalov. Bishop h6. This is probably beneficial to you, you know. And now you have a reasonable position other than the knight on a6. It's a Petrosian system, but not a great one for Black. So now you play knight c5. Yeah, I just don't think that Black can completely solve his problems here, but you improved your position a little bit. Maybe knight f6. The engine says knight g7. So knight c5, but I don't like this take. This is his best minor piece, the bishop on f2. Yeah, Danilov, he seems like someone who could be like Donald Trump's campaign manager or something. Creator of chaos. Yeah, I mean, he was a hanger-on, you know. I don't know. Kind of irrelevant now. But a lot of celebrities get these creepy people that hang on to them. And in Topalov's case, they probably went back before Topalov was great, so... Knight c5. Yeah, I mean, White should just play b4, right? This looks like a bad Petrosian system, Mr. Slow. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't like the look of this. You have bishop f2 check. You have a trick. Okay, let's see. Maybe you're right. You have a trick. So he should castle. No. It's all based on this trick. Trick or treat. Bishop takes d2 check. White needs some kind of waiting move. It's possible a3 wasn't the best either. So what's the deal with this? Just move the rook or something? Rook b1? Is that the best? I mean, there's still weird stuff like bishop takes d2 check, queen d2, knight b3. With the idea of knight d4. I guess queen d1. This is really bizarre. But probably white is better, right? Yeah. Oh, you could play b4. How does that work? What is it going to do? Sack the exchange? What? King d2. Alright, it's Korchnoi. Alright, yeah, alright. I thought like you could play queen g5 check, but you're losing a piece. Well, I mean, he can't play queen g5 check. I don't know. No, he has to. He has to do king d2. He's going to lose the exchange otherwise. No, it's like Korchnoi, man. Walk it over here. You're probably fine. Actually, b2 is probably a good destination for the white king. My engine doesn't agree, though. It's possible to play king c2. Black's missing his dark square bishop. The knight is kicked out. But I was concerned about this. That's why I thought b4 was a mistake. I was recommending rook b1. What's wrong with rook b1? You've got another move now. Queen g5. So the beat goes on. Mr. Slow has tricks here. Tricks are for kids. So, from my perspective, I mean, we go back a move. You know, again, white can play g4. I still think that I don't like a3. g4 is a psycho way to play, and white is probably better. But yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, Rustam was pretty bad. But castles is fine. You know, I don't think that black has any kind of normal King's Indian attack here. If you played like Oms, who's an expert on this stuff in our stream, Mr. Slow, you'd have a good game against him. You know, he's excellent playing these standard sort of King's Indian Petrosians with white. Black doesn't have the magnitude of kingside attack. Although I think you shared with us, Mr. Slow, going back a long ways now in my memory, but I think you actually might have shared another Petrosian system, or maybe we had some interesting Petrosian system before. Now we can play c5. It's a very tough struggle. All right, not an ideal attacking King's Indian though, because the knight's on a6. We don't have it like over here, you know, preparing that standard sort of kingside attack. Anyway, this is the move for those who don't like to be attacked on the king's side, probably. g4, playing it like a Makaganov or something with a sharp position. Alright, a3, f5, f3, bishop h6, bishop f2. And then, guys, don't forget tomorrow is Blitz stream, 11 a.m. I'm going to be taking challenges here on lichess. Join us for open challenge night, morning. Welcome everyone to the stream. So this is a blunder, big time. It does disrupt black structure though. So we're gonna have to I would take a long pause here with black to make sure I reset myself. Bad bishop. See, that's the difference in the position. It's like really bad bishop against bad bishop that gets out or trades itself off. So ultimately, black is doing well now. Major positional mistake, bishop takes c5. Castles, bishop e3 check, lock it in, and now king h1. You're back. In the order of bit war. Yeah, classic Petrosian with bishop e3 check, bishop d4. Black's a little ways from the standard, crazy house sort of knight g3. Knight g3 mate. If this is crazy house, you play, I guess, knight or bug house, knight g3 check. Knight g3 check, pawn takes, queen h6, and hope the white doesn't have any pawns to put down in the way. Usually they do though. No pawns here though. No pawns have been exchanged. So knight g3 is a great crazy house move. f4. Closing it down, natural move though, playing for those mating attacks. I probably would have considered it myself. I mean, you can keep the tension. It's a tricky position though. I guess this looks kind of natural. I like blocking his play here on the d file. Tomorrow is Friday. F4, B4. I mean, that's a natural expansion. Knight G7, and he's headed for the crazy house mate. White maybe didn't see what's coming. Classic. Wow. So he's streaming a simul. He's a national master. He's about to get mated. It's like mate on the next move, no? We're now in some kind of lockdown. Dude, it's over. Seriously? Like Queen E1, only move. He found it. Oh no, Rook F2 was best. Dude, Queen E1 question mark. Rook F2 is best. Thanks for filling us in. You know what's better than that? Just resigning now. Queen E1. Do you have Knight G3 check? Can't you do Knight G3 and Queen G5? Lost, forced, checkmate sequence. I'm disappointed with you, Mr. Slow. You should have seen this. I mean, Mr. Slow is like usually the expert of like brute force, King's Indian mates, and he didn't do it. It's like the classic. That's like the classic mate, and you didn't do it? Did you have a hallucination? Takes, Queen G5, right? Threatening mate here. Maybe you hallucinated that Rook F2 could defend or something, right? But I mean, you're just taking. Wow. He doesn't have any defense, right? Takes, Queen G5. I mean, that's about as mated as you can get. So you play Queen G5 instead, threatening Knight G3, giving White the chance to do some kind of desperate defense. He could have hung the exchange with Rook F2. Instead, he played G4, and you just like take. And it's not forced mate now, I guess. He goes into bailout desperation mode, dropping all his material. Bishop G1. I hope this didn't get messed up. I hope Mr. Slow finished him off. It'd be a shame to mess this up in time pressure or something. Now you played G2 check. But that seems like a concession. I suspect we have a better move than G2 check. Do we have Queen H4? I'm just not sure. You know, after something like Queen H4, Bishop F1. I guess Queen H4? Wow. The computer came up with an even more brutal move, Rook F4. Threatening Rook there. I haven't been playing enough King's Indians lately. I'm not even like looking at that move. Here, giving back material, a little risky. Going for this though. Only move. And he's trading queens if he can. So what do you got? Exchange up, but this big pile of pawns there makes things a little complicated. I mean, he does have a passer, so you have to be good technically. Yeah, this is pawns grow. Predominance of pawns in the center makes it a little bit tricky. Those two knights keeping control of a lot of squares, so you don't have A5. It's hard to kind of break out here. But you have knight E2, Rook F3, right? Yeah. I mean, this should win. Knight A4, anyone? That's embarrassing. But no shame to lose to Mr. Slow in a simul game. I've certainly done it. I mean, this guy did manage to get two connected pass pawns from those pawns there. You got a mating attack. And Rook F2. Where's the mate, though? It might be difficult to actually force mate. You have Rook H2, and then what? It's going to be like Rook H2, King G1, Rook G2, King F1, then take his knight. I didn't anticipate this move. That's annoying. Can you recirculate your bishop to a new diagonal? Like here? Second best move is bishop g4. Probably what I would have played. Don't know what I would have been thinking in time pressure, though. You have a minute and he has 30 minutes. It's really weird. I guess he's playing like trying to play a million boards or something. Why does he have so much time and you have so little? But he's like losing, you know. He's losing with 31 minutes. And 0-1. White resigned. You're taking h2. He doesn't have any real counterplay. Alright, still good game. Good game, Mr. Slow. Thanks for sharing. Alright, guys, what are we up to? Game 3. Move 11. I saw move 11 around earlier. If anybody like has to go and you really want me to do your game, like Schieberspieler has a hot date or something, move 11, lockdown date. No, move 11 is next in the list. But if there is like a reason that someone has to go, if you got a note from your doctor, I'll do your game first. Move 11 seriously was next. For the next subscriber stream, I submit the game Lajos Portish versus Walter Brown, 82. This is going to be a positional battle royale. Great. I'm excited. 1982 Tilburg, which was huge. Alright. So Portish is white. Oh, it's a Nimzo. I'm trying to think, what did Walter play later in life? For some reason, I got paired with him with black both times when I played him. Actually, I had black in a blitz game against him too, so I played Walter with black every game. Every game we played was a King's Indian. Yeah, I guess come to think of it, he did play the Nimzo. Mr. Slow. Yeah, I saw this game today. Thank you for the donation. 1,000 bits from Mr. Slow.
Yeah, baby.
But, you know, the lichess opening explorer, like, you see some funny games where you know, like, people are cheating. I saw this one game where this guy was 2,300 and he, like, played the sick computer Maiden 9 today when I was analyzing with one of my students. Like, I'm sorry, but, you know, we just don't see every Maiden 9 with, like, perfect moves. I love the lichess opening explorer for that, though. Computer-aided games become very obvious. Can weed out the ones where people like perfectly played like mates in 11. E3, mainline, classical mainline. Not classical actually. I don't know what to call it. Rubinstein is technically E3, C5, 92. I see a lot of people refer to this though as the Rubinstein. Maybe, you know, who knows who's right? Who's really right with opening names? Like, there is no right or wrong. You can call an opening whatever you want. I call this the Sladgie variation, and now it's the therefore it's the Sladgie variation. There's no copyright on opening names, but I don't know what to call it. Anyway, E3 Nimzo, C5, my favorite move, Bishop D3. And this is what my former helper and I studied Jinji. Jinji played both sides of the Nimzo, so we looked at quite a bit of Bishop D3. Portish was a very positional player. Brown was a very positional player. Both extremely competent tactically, but basically world-class strategic players. Both very well versed in the openings. Knight C6. Portish was objectively stronger than Brown, though. Reached a higher peak rating, and of course was a world championship candidate, which I don't think that Brown was ever a candidate. Brown was like 7 times U.S. champion. But I like both these guys. Portish is still alive, and Brown passed away, sadly, you know, at a fairly recent date. Anyways, I used to always play knight e2. We got a classical Nimzo here, a mainline e3 Nimzo. And now bishop takes c3, so it's going to be a Hubner variation. B takes c. And this time 82. This is probably in Gligorich's book on the Nimzo. I would assume like the hallmark theoretical book on the Nimzo was written by Svetozar Gligorich. And this is like the era where most of the games from his book were in there. I mean, this was probably something that was analyzed. So mainline d6. I don't play this, but it is considered by many to be the cardinal variation. e4, e5, and now the classic line is like closing it up with d5, but there are other ideas. I remember my friend Charlie Hertan, who's a chess author and FIDE master, but a very strong one, he had a game years ago, I remember, where his opponent, I think, played, it was a strong player like Ibragimov or someone, played rook b1. I mean, rook b1 is subtle. I think theory evolved here a little bit, where like, you know, d5 isn't necessarily white's best move. I think Charlie did something like where he messed up and got his position tangled up. If you try to take a pawn here, the lines can open up for the bishop. That's the danger. Rook b1, 9, rook b1 is interesting. Anyways, like d5 is main line, but really closed up, hard to use the bishops. I'm not an authority on this. You know, I know a lot of like secondhand theory. I don't want to. This is not a position where you want to base your theory on the lichess opening explorer. I don't think like lichess bullet games are going to do much justice here. Quintessential like positional line. So Portish played h3. Interesting way of keeping the tension. Not that different from rook b1. Doesn't white wish knight e2 f4? Turkey farm, he wishes his knight was on e2, absolutely. But it's not. I mean, it's the mainline Nimzo. I think knight h4 is a move, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's not this position. It can't be this position. There is some position where you play knight h4, though. h3 is the best move quickly, according to Stockfish. I mean, this is definitely interesting. I think Charlie did something like b6 against Ibragimov and lost. We were playing in Vienna in 1996, and he was playing in the top section. He got a lot of very tough opponents, a lot of GMs, and I remember he lost with Ibragimov. But I never played the Hubner variation. Back in those days, I wasn't playing the Nimzo. I didn't start playing the Nimzo till like maybe 1999. Knight h4, it doesn't work, right? We can play knight takes e4. But I feel like in some positions that's played later on. Yeah, the knight wants to get out of the way. Absolutely. It would rather be on e2. And if it was on e2, you could play f4 turkey farm. You'd have a good game, probably. You know, it's a whole different ball game if the knight is on f3. Not f3, but on e2. Yes. So this gives him knight h2, which is a possibility. Now h6. I have no idea. I'm going to turn off the engine. About h6, typical move. Black also does stuff with knight h7, knight g5 maneuvers. Sometimes this knight is coming over here, obviously. So h6 is a normalish kind of move. I don't think there's anything wrong with castling. Is Brown worried about... I don't see... I can't imagine that there's something wrong with castling here. I don't know. I don't buy it. You know, white's not going to castle and he's going to attack us. It's not the King's Indian or something. You know. Oh, bishop g5. We shouldn't castle first. Where is white going to put his king? I mean, he's going to leave it in the center? Or no. I mean, you can castle. h6 is a bit extravagant. Now bishop e3. This is 1982, and the theory wasn't that well mapped out yet. It was just getting really mapped out. So forcing pressure on c5. This is Portish's idea. And like, notice there's no knight g4. So the bishop can just kind of attack c5. b6 locking up, but this is a committal move. Now there could be like a4, a5 later on, cracking our structure, and we slightly weaken the white squares for black. Now d5, and if you put your knight on the side of the board, that's all nice and good, but it can be out of play. So it's a tough decision for... I mean, I'm not sure that Portish even has to play d5, actually. You know, maybe he should keep the tension longer. If I had to predict, I don't know. He seems like he's reluctant to castle, but he can't keep his king in the center forever here. So d5, knight e7. If knight a5, the knight's trapped on the side of the board, this knight will drop back to d2, and black won't be able to put that much pressure on c4. White would like to play, like, slowly build up. Yeah, this is pretty typical. g3, stopping the incursions. It's a Mexican standoff. Let's just call it a draw, boys. No, I mean, without the knight on a5, the thing is that Portish is going to have a4, a5 later on. So the position isn't completely locked. And if Lajos is able to get in a4, a5, he can weaken the b6 pawn and maybe get a target. It's not like black has a total fortress here, is what I'm trying to say, you know. If you play, you know, so it feels like white's a little better at this point. Ultimately, this is classic. He wants to put his king artificial castling on g2. Now knight e8. But I don't know if knight e8 is the right square. You can consider h7. I'm not sure if he should move the knight or not. I mean, Walter wants to play f5, I guess. But this is a dangerous procedure, right? If we play f5, it's going to allow white to trade off his bad bishop for our good bishop. And then we're going to get very good control of white, you know, on the e4 square. King g2. If f5 directly, we get an Asterbait check Benoni. Like this. Basically this. Where white just owns the e4 square. And white is slightly better, I guess. Schieberspieler also, like Schieberspieler would do, and did in a game against me in another opening. So knight e7, prepare a better version of f5. Hi Princess Chess, what's up? Better version of f5, but this has all been a little costly in terms of time. I mean, I don't know, if I was Portish, you have to consider more aggressive moves like f4. I mean, seriously, what's up with f4? I kind of wish like we hadn't played h6. Now f6 feels very weakening later. It looks like brown is like in Petrosian mode, playing for draw with blockade, and then we play f6 and walk our king around over here or something. We might have to bail out and run away to the other side later on. Okay, so I don't know. Let's check this out. I mean, is f4 a possibility? Yep. It is. It's a serious possibility. Stockfish is like totally torn between f3 and f4, but it's a hugely different move. Like, this is way more aggressive and would be very not, you know, it would be very committal for white to play this. There's no going back. So the computer says f4, f5. I would assume f takes e5, d takes e5. The problem is the knight gets a good square at d6. The engine doesn't like it. Actually, this stampede is a problem too. So maybe you don't do f takes e5. All right, that's not forced. Computer thinks that white is better. So Portish was conservative here. You know, f4 is really going for it. And Brown was at his peak in 1982. He was a good player, very respected. Pawn takes f5, and now bishop takes f5. I mean, I was expecting knight takes. But the problem is our bishop is still here. I mean, why not this? That seems like the more normal move to me, honestly. Walter is like trading off his white squared bishop with bishop takes f5. I mean, it seems like a positional mistake. On the other hand, I mean, white's bishop isn't really bad anymore. It can go out there. Is this really a bad bishop on d3? With this kind of mobility, check it out. With the mobility that that piece has. But I mean, if it was a blitz game, I'm instantly playing knight takes f5. Like, there's no question. Computer agrees with Brown. But not by a big margin. So knight takes f5, bishop f2. Turkey farm suggesting queen g5, but that looks like it allows knight e4. There are possibilities, though. It's kind of a cheapo. It looks like either way, Portish is still better. Cookie picks. Sounds like kind of cereal. Anyways, bishop takes f5, trading pieces. Wow. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. So Portish surprises us all with knight e4. So put this down in the deep moves category. That's kind of evil. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to trade my bad bishop for your good bishop. I've got something even better for you. That's not a good sign for black here, you know. After bishop takes f5, white plays this move and you're a grandmaster, you got to be like, uh-oh. You know, if he didn't play bishop takes e4, because, I mean, this looks comfortable, right? Bishop takes f5. No-brainer is like bishop takes f5, knight takes f5, bishop f2, and then put the knight on e4. I mean, I guess, yeah, he has time for knight f6, but, I mean, there's no stability for this guy. White is just slightly better here, it looks like. You might have some cheapos. But Portish goes for more. He's like, no, I'll do that. I'll do this. Knight f6. And Brown's trying to trade pieces. And there it is. I'm sorry, a4. We knew that was going to happen. I don't know who wins this game, but the longer I see more, I'm assuming it's white. Yeah, I mean, quintessential a4, a5 break. If you play a5, your b6 pawn is screwed. White has control of the e4 square. And Walter did it. Oh, this is not a happy moment here for black. I don't know if we want to do this. Maybe it holds, but it's very committal. Now this is like, we're going to be babysitting that pawn on b6 forever. White also has a weakness on a4. Rook b1, rook b8, queen c2. Schieber-Spieler. Senior. Queen c2, knight e4. What is going on? Oh, this is perverse. Now you're kidding me, right? He actually plays pawn takes e4 here. I mean, this, I want to just caution you guys, is a very unusual decision. You know, normally we would be happy to play bishop takes e4. But he felt like he has even better. Wow. Exceptional thinking from Portish. And now Brown tries to keep pressure on a4. He sees this bishop will reactivate, tying him down, but this is the point. That's pretty cool. So Portish decides he can trade off his white square bishop like that, maybe? I don't know. Very uncompromising game from both sides. King h2, king h8, rook f1. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm losing it. I'm losing the black is better thing. I mean, the white is better thing. Having my doubts about Liosh here. Knight g8, g4. Very aggressive move. Sorry about the click. It's that extra mouse button. Move 11 always submits the longest games he can find for the sake of getting the maximum value. Where is this? So g4. I don't know. I mean, b6 is a weakness. e4 is a weakness. Very strange decisions going on here. Rook takes f1, rook takes f1. Knight f6. Weakness, weakness, weakness. White has more weaknesses. Bishop f3. Rook f8, and now knight h7, knight g5. I'm beginning to think like maybe Walter has something. Queen b3. Which is obviously, you know, knight takes e4, queen c2. And now b6 is hanging. So check out what happened now. Knight takes g4 check, sacking a piece. So he gets 2 pawns for a piece. 3 pawns for a piece. And now the king is semi-safe. It can hide on h7 if white breaks through here. Queen c1 threatening bishop h3 / bishop e2. And suddenly the white bishops are like worthless. King g2. And now e4. How did that happen? Queen a2, bishop f3 check, king g1 check, king h2, queen h5 check, bishop h3, and bishop g4, and he resigned. You got to look at this game and go back and think about the position where Portish decided, you know, those moves knight e4 and bishop e4 and pawn e4. He makes a move that most masters would consider to be a positional mistake here, playing pawn takes e4. Later, okay, it probably hinges on the tactics. You know, maybe he never should have played g4. This isn't why he lost the game. But I'm curious about this position, if objectively that's a mistake or not. The engine is like bishop takes e4, very slightly worse for white. Now it's like dead even. It's more normal to play bishop takes e4. Schieber Spieler would have played bishop takes e4. But middle-aged, actually fairly still young Portish played pawn takes. Yeah, maybe he was just like too, you know, dead set on trying to play for a win or something. Pawn takes e4. It looks like white went a little too far trying to win, you know, and like finally he plays like king h2 and then g4. But it was a classic Nimzo. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop that one. Portish versus Walter Brown. Walter gets the win. 1982. Arguably that they're both at their peak then. Peaking. I wish I was still peaking. Mr. Slow's done. Spieler's up. Spieler, are you here? Spieler, are you here, Spieler? Spieler. Where is everybody? N-O. Alright, you already peaked? Look at me, I'm fresh and young again. Wonderful to be here. Thanks for joining me. We're going to be going through quite a few more games in my analysis stream. International Master Sladgie. Alright, Spieler's here or not? I need a confirmation. We can't start the Spieler game. Alright. In the wake of Lajos Portish, Schieberspieler submitted a game. That's his team announcement. His game is here. Oh, okay. I played this tournament. What? I played on that tournament with my real life team. Okay, this was a real life team playing an online tournament, and Schieberspieler had 2 draws and a win against GMs. So this time he beats Glidora, Hungarian Grandmaster Benjamin Glidora. Quite a young and strong Grandmaster. Alright, so Schieberspieler is white here. Ready to start. How are we doing on time? We still have an hour left. Lots of time. But it's no time limit, guys. We're going to go until we finish these 10 games or 9 games, whatever we've got. Schieberspieler is playing white against Glidora. This was 3+2. 3+2 blitz. Blitz game, unfortunately. It's online pandemic time. So we've got the English. And Glidora plays a line that I've played. A lot of people have played. It's not great. It can transpose some other well-known lines. It's okay for black. Knight b3 is best move for white. Don't play the lame e3, guys. Don't play knight c2. I had a game with knight c2. It's not that stupid, but this is the correct move. And now knight f6, knight c3, e6, and mainline a3. By the way, Schieberspieler, is there any other move order or something you should do? There's no reason to change the move order, right? Is he supposed to play e6 first? Sladgie variation. We might as well. We can call it what we want to call it. I'm trying to remember. You don't think it makes a difference? It does possibly make a difference, but only for... Like, only if you do something weird. You know, like, you might try something weird like g3, and then you can go h5, for example. There are some things that can happen outside of the realm of normal. Let's say the Queen b6 was our first game. I thought we played a game that I didn't remember it was the first one. I've been playing that for a while. I'm sure Glidora knows it better than me. It's a blitz game though. Who knows? You know, if he's playing his normal stuff. Knight f6, knight c3, e6. Now you've transposed into like a well-known line. So personally, I don't know what he's doing here with knight e5. I guess that's normal. No. All right, stop. So I just want to say, yeah, okay. I think I've had this position. I probably played d5, by the way. What's the engine have to say? Did we have this? Did I play d5 against you? Do you remember? Was it this position? Maybe we did. Bishop e3, then g3. Maybe I did. You know, he can also play a hedgehog type of thing. You know, it's like Sicilian-like with d6. All right, so knight e5. Man, this is complicated. I don't play that. I don't know that move. I remember there was a game, Karpov Miles. Are you going to transpose to Karpov Miles? One of Karpov's greatest games, it was like in My Best Games by Karpov, where he beat Miles in one of these lines. You're supposed to play e4. But I don't know that this is the exact position, or just similar. I think it's just a similar variation that's different. So Schieber plays, like, you know, safely with e3. This obviously restricts his bishop, but he understands that That's the safer move. Okay, so now black has to wonder, well, what's my plan here? So he plays a move that looks normal, rook d8. I guess black might also consider something like queen c7, I would assume, to attack c4, and get the queen back so he can maybe move b6 and bishop b7 later on. I mean, obviously white can play knight b5 and drive him away. In this complicated position, I don't really know what's going on here. Let's check the lichess opening explorer. Oops. Oh, no games found. Yeah, they don't play real chess on lichess. That's just fake chess. No, e3, probably not a lot of games. No games, in fact, where this position has been reached. Damn, they didn't have any games here. Yeah, now we do. Yeah, so if we go back there, yeah, the wonderful lichess opening explorer, d5, a6, or d6. Knight e5 is a novelty in lichess land from Glidora. e3, here we go. So here I'm curious, though, you know, if his best move is what? Queen c7's up there. But d5's still a move. He can always play d5. Actually, I mean, this is a really, really solid choice. Because now you don't have your bishop e3 stuff. You're basically playing like a weird semi-Tarash after cd5. I don't know what he plays. Rook d8, ed5, knight d5. All of these moves are possible. It looks like white might be better or equal. He plays rook d8, keeping the tension. And now you play knight to d4, back to the center. I mean, this is really lame, right? Like, that's what a typical average potser would play. I mean, you do have some nice little tricks there with bishop a5, maybe. We could get that in, it would be funny. Crazy variations like this, this. Is there any way we can cheapo him with bishop a5? Just hypothetically. It's probably not even good, you know. So Schieberspieler made a judgment here. I mean, I guess you could try queen c2, but I don't like your pawn here either. It's equal after d5, was my feeling. Anyway, Benjamin could play pawn takes pawn, right? I mean, what is his deal here? He's supposed to be trying to beat you. He's a grandmaster. Normally, I would want to keep pieces on the board with black, but maybe he just didn't trust his position after pawn takes, so he played it safe with knight takes. Knight takes, rook takes with a symmetrical structure. It looks equal. Queen c2. Everything's fine for both sides right now. Bishop e7. Still, Schieberspieler needs to get his bishop out. b4, I don't like it. You've got a lot of weaknesses. He's first to the file. So probably Glidora thought he was better here. You know, I mean, it's natural to think, oh, I've got my pieces all developed and I've got control of the open file and I'm better. Stockfish doesn't think so. It's interesting. Yeah, it's very likely he thought he was better here. But if we turn on the engine, we see that's not the case. It looks like white is equal, worst case scenario. I mean, b4 looks like, wow, you know, we're weakening ourselves. Maybe he's got a5. He's got the c file. He's more developed. I think, again, like the typical chess player would have played bishop d2. That separates Schieberspieler from the typical player. Now, seriously, what's up? I mean, bishop d2 is okay, right? Bishop d2, rook c8, bishop c3. This is okay. Black feels a little more active, and you're pinning yourself but you're probably still okay. So b4 was aggressive. And you give yourself a queen maneuver. It looks weird, but there's nothing that black can do. He literally tried, his only aggressive move, but it's kind of weird to play a5 after rook c8, in a way, It's like, wouldn't the rook have been better on a8, after all? So you just take, and objectively, this is an equal position, I assume. But black may overpress because he's supposed to be the higher rated player. But Schieberspieler hit him with this. And suddenly, it becomes apparent that white, might even be better, I thought. Takes, and now you're in an endgame where you have the bishop pair. Not completely symmetrical. That's the kind of position that Schieberspieler likes. So, Glidora might think he's equal, but actually he'd get ground down by the Schieberspieler technique. Queen c5. I would guess I would have expected like queen e2. You played queen c5, queen b1. Just defending. I mean, I guess if black plays for a draw here, he'll probably get it. But he probably wanted to try to win. h3. Safe move. b6. a4. And now white has no weaknesses with the bishop pair. And then black plays h5. Okay. I'm not playing h5. That's where we start getting overconfident, I think. Queen e2, queen c1. Oof. Thanks for pointing that out. You had to stay on b1 to keep this bishop protected. I totally spaced on it. I mean, maybe you would have... Queen c1. Yeah, you would have lost a piece. Damn. That's why you need h3. Maybe. But this is overconfident, I think. h5. Dude's got... he's got to be careful. That's his king over there. He's not playing a weak player. I think h5 is going too far. Bishop e2, queen d5, and this was just a blunder. So he has to fight now. I think black realistically has to fight. I mean, bishop d4 is a problem. You're going to get tying him down. He's weakened his king side with h5 for no particular reason. I mean, it's not the worst move in the world, but, realistically, I don't think the h5 improves his position very much, and does weaken his king side. So, yeah, he's just worse. You're threatening bishop d4 with control of the position, and he's like, blunder. Queen d5, rook d1. And the problem is, I guess he thought he had some trick or queen c5, but queen c5 loses to rook c1. He loses a piece on the file, so he just like can't avoid it. You gotta keep the bishop protected. Black became uncoordinated. So I don't think you missed anything now. He had to sacrifice a piece. Check. Desperation. And then king f1. And you walk here this little cubby hole. And you're totally safe. I checked this game. I mean, Schieberspieler had it under control all the way. Maybe you made some small inaccuracies here. I don't like that his h-pawn got so far down at the end. But Schieberspieler's got the a-pawn. And the extra bishop makes a little bit of difference. But it felt a little close. I was like, this got a little too close. His h-pawn got down too far. 33 a5. What about it? Oh, that was a blunder? I mean, well, it's a natural move because of rook b8 or something. Does he have a tactic? Oh, rook h1 would have forced him to trade queens. Well, he drops his h-pawn. I mean, after rook h1? You mean because this would be too dangerous? I'll take my chances with this, I guess, but it's not good. You've got some nasty stuff on rook h1, queen h1. Yeah, this is probably what Schieberspieler is talking about. Forcing a trade of queens. But it's easy to miss that. a5 is fine, objectively. White should totally be winning. There's no question. But I got a little scared, like, somehow you let his pawn get down really fast. It's kind of weird. How did it get down there so far? Queen c7. You can't push a7, but you could push a7, I guess. I wonder if rook b7 was a mistake objectively, because you give up defensive d1. You gave him a chance to mate you in 1. I mean, if you play a7, he's really tied down. The problem is the h-pawn. You know, a7, rook a8, rook a1, and then his pawn is like coming down. I guess you're probably winning though, like, right? Like here, here, threatening here. If h2... See, this is the problem. It's kind of funny position, bishop e4. Rook a7, queen a7, queen a7, rook a7, queen, and then mate. Nice knowing you. But okay, it was complicated. Ham for free. Check out the Discord, guys. Thanks for subscribing, Ham for free. Schieberspieler got it done. But it was a little scary allowing like a mate in 1 threat. You know, the h-pawns on the run. And we had to come back, and it's down there on h2. I was like, what? This is a little more complicated than I had hoped. But everything was always under control. It only looks like, don't try this at home. This is a professional doing this craziness. He was just bluffing with g4. A good practical try. And you're actually safe. So he eventually runs out of gas. Trading queens. Always the queen trade. When Schieberspieler trades queens, it's time to resign. Good game, man. Alright. That was Schieberspieler's win against Grandmaster Benjamin Glodora. Yabatis is up next. Thanks, guys, for subscribing and donating to support the stream. Thanks, Mr. Slow, for donation today. Queen trade was a mistake. A queen trade is never a mistake, Schieberspieler. What are you talking about? It's never a mistake to trade queens, especially for you. It's all relative. The auto-analysis doesn't know what it's talking about. It says the King's Indian is a mistake. It's like 3 bishop g7 is a mistake. Alright, Yabatis. Where's your game? This might not be my best game ever, but it's a pretty mate. Thanks for submitting the game, Schieberspieler, and being part of the stream. Guys, check him out. He also streams. FIDE Master Schieberspieler. Raleigh, we call him. That's his name. Alright. So, Yabatis is up. Schieberspieler, are you streaming tomorrow after my stream? Check it out. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Schieberspieler. Alright, this is Yabatis opening. Knight c3, d5, e4. Listen, Schieberspieler, I'm gonna have to as usual this week, I have to finish my streams early because of daylight savings time. So, are you willing to start earlier with your stream? If you want me to raid you, I have to, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to start earlier this week. It looks like I'm gonna have to finish earlier. You're gonna have to start earlier. You probably can't. All right. Well, if I can, I'm gonna raid you. We'll do what we can do. I probably have to finish earlier. E4, E6, A3. I gotta try this new A3 move. It's like the anti-Winnower. The Petrosian system against the French. That's a cool idea. Absolutely irrelevant. No, it's not that bad. This is a slow move, obviously, but it's not the stupidest move ever. Okay, A3, C5. A lot of French players don't like to push here to D4. I play a lot of like Knight F3. It's trash, but I play it sometimes for fun. They don't feel comfortable. The French players like their structure, you know, with the pawns on the white square. So when they're playing positions like this, they start to become disoriented. I've had like experienced grandmasters like play badly after that. I had a blitz game I remember against Kaidanov where he lost like really stupidly. Um, 2600 GM because he's just not used to playing structures with the pawns advanced to c5 and d4. You're not comfortable with. You don't normally play that structure necessarily. So there's a practical advantage in doing stuff like this. c5. Ham for free. You've got to send me a game directly here on lichess to my account Sparkle Horse, preferably a game I can access easily. Yeah, we'll probably have room for one last subscription submission if you really want to send in a game, or if you're just asking. I might have time for one more, but that would be the last one for sure for today. I still have a bunch of games we're going to go over, but I don't have a lot of room for new ones. So that would be the last one for today, for sure. Limited time. We have about an hour. All right, send it to my account here, Sparkle Horse, in a message. So c5, g3. Yeah, I mean, it's normal to play g3, but not a3 in g3. So Schieberspieler, excuse me, I'm used to the last game. Yabatis is going a little too far with the weird moves. Probably at this point we should cut our losses and go with some kind of more direct move. Pawn takes pawn, bishop e5 check, knight f3. I mean, some kind of like constructive developing move. g3, now g3 and a3. A bit much. Knight c6, bishop g2. So it's basically a closed Sicilian now. It's a closed Sicilian where you randomly played a3 for no reason. Not ideal, but you're white, so you could probably get away with it. Knight f6. I don't think that a3 is helping us. I'm going to turn off this opening explorer. Yeah, and now we played bishop e7. I mean, what do you want black to do here now? He's put his knight on f6. Is he supposed to play like g6 or something? Computer gives bishop e7 dubious. What? Okay. Bishop f4. Okay, the weird square for the bishop. Normally, Yabatis puts bishops on d2. Obviously, this bishop is trying to provoke black into some sort of response, like e5. e5 would be a blunder because of pawn takes d5. He also has some vague threats of knight b5, but I mean, that's not even a threat, in fact, because of queen a5 check. So I'm not a huge fan of bishop f4. Castles. And now you turned your position from the closed Sicilian into a King's Indian attack with e5. No, the problem is like your setup's a little slow. You got a3 out there. This King's Indian attack with the knight on c3 and a3 is a bit weird. Knight d7, correct. Now the e5 pawn is weak, so knight f3. And you can still protect your e5 pawn with queen e2. So, for example, queen c7, queen e2. There is this type of stuff, typically. There's also this. For example, knight takes d5, pawn d5, e6, winning the piece back by the discovered attack, and if queen a5, you have bishop d2. So there's just some nice tricks here. I suppose black should just go about his business. Maybe like it's a normal King's Indian attack, b5, grabbing space on the queen side. Yeah, I got your message, thank you. So b5 on the queen side, threatening check here, grabbing the knight. We have a normal King's Indian attack where white's knight is on the wrong square and he's played a3 for no reason. If you play knight d2 with no a3, we have a standard position. I don't know if black can really take advantage of it or not. But this knight is really not on this square in this type of setup usually. Alright, anyway, knight f3 and then f6. Breaking with Nimzovich's principles, it's necessary sometimes to do. attacking the head of the pawn chain normally is a no-no. That's the place the opponent is strongest. So we normally fail if we try to attack the strong point. And obviously the positional danger is the pawn on e6 becoming a weakness. But sometimes in the French defense, I mean, this simply is a necessary means of undermining, and maybe the only means of undermining, like, white's center. So it's not really a crazy move or anything. I expect it takes. The problem is his backwardness here. This controls the diagonal nicely. And so this was your original provocation with bishop f4. Now is it paying off or not later on? Do you want to sacrifice a piece? No. We're going to have to go back. And so was it worth it or not? Can we generate enough play against the d5 weakness? That square is now very, very vulnerable. I think white's challenge is this knight in f3. You know what's crazy, but maybe not a stupid idea? Bishop c1. It just occurred to me, I mean, is it possible? Maybe we still don't have enough pressure on the center. I thought maybe there's a chance that the knight back to d2 to uncover on d5 could be relevant. Probably it won't make a difference. Let's check with the oracle. Yeah, no special benefits really. If bishop c1, black's still able to defend the b6. The point is, like, knight b6 and is super protected. So at the end of the day, nothing special there. The problem is our knight has nowhere to go other than e1, which is really bad. Then black plays this. I mean, obviously this is not an optimal move, but he was concerned about protection of his d5. He could have played knight b6. Also not an optimal move. Knight is not greatly placed here. Greatly. Bigly. It's not in a bigly square on b6. With the other knight move, though, you have other problems. Like, it's just getting in the way of everything. Can I have an everything bagel, please? This is literally getting in the way of the queen. It gets in the way of the e-file. You know, it's just a pain. That's awkward. Seriously, would you rather do this or that? Well, move 11's move now is move 11, sorry, Ibadas is very, very natural. I mean, knight g5 looks like a good move to me. We were just hurting for a square and now we have one. Hey, another great reason for knight e7, right? I'm like sitting here like, wait, the knight doesn't have anywhere to go. Let's give it a place to go. Okay, knight e7, knight g5. Question mark according to the engine, but why? I guess knight g5 is not a bad move, but wait, that's something better. What could we have that's better than knight g5? What is better than knight g5 in this position? I mean, is it bishop h3? Like, I don't even see any of the moves that do something. b4 on the queen's side, we might be able to break it up. Knight takes d5, loses a piece. Yeah, some kind of crazy sacrifice, but I mean, you're giving up a piece there. Welcome to reality. Realityville. Some compensation for the sacrificed piece. Knight g5 now. I don't think so. What's the deal? Rook e1 was best. Okay, well, thank you, Stockfish. Yeah. Not that exciting either. Okay, it's like a normal move. That's the best we can do. Is knight g5 really bad, though? Is there something wrong with this? Forced weaknesses. Okay, we could get a little precarious here, but he's forced some weaknesses in the opponent's position. It's more active than rook e1. I mean, it would be nice to bring the other rook over to e1. I kind of defend Yabadis' decision to play the knight g5. It was a bit more active. I think a lot of players would have copped out and played bishop takes g5. You know, not strong ones, but I mean, he could play like bishop g5, knight f6, and white is better. You know, there's a pretty good chance that most people would do that because it's the easy way out. So knight g5 had practical aspects to it. Black was smart enough not to fall for that. Knight b6, queen h5, h6, knight f3, and now luckily your queen can't be trapped or anything. It is a little restricted. I had a similar game with move 11, a training game a couple weeks ago, with the King's Indian attack with queen on h5. The queen here is vulnerable, it's vulnerable, but it's also active, putting pressure on e5, and you can't attack it because the h6 falls. So, interesting. Crumble. Crumbly. It reminds me of the Cookie Monster from Sesame Street. And what is happening here? What is he thinking? E4? Wait, where? That's like, there goes my center. Pawn takes pawn. Yum yum. And then you just take. Nice knowing your pawn center. So he's got bishop takes b2. But now, okay. The black king side's looking a little airy. This is here, this is here, this is here. Knight around the area, and then the other rook's getting in. You played bishop takes h6. That's a little fancy. I was expecting either rook b1 or rook d1 with a very strong initiative for white. Does he have some crazy move like rook f5 or something? He could attack your queen. Okay, it's not a complete joke. Your queen is a little short of squares at the moment, but I think you still have h4. So for example, rook d1, rook f5, queen h4, and everything is more or less okay, I would assume. Nothing really special. It looks like white's just outstripping black in development with a safer king. But Yabadis went crazy with bishop takes h6. Massively, insanely optimistic move. And then he should have just taken all your material away. But instead he played knight f5. Giving credit where credit wasn't due. Again, I expected rook d1, attacking his queen. But you played bishop g5. I guess this is also good. He lost a key component of his king side there with that h6 pawn. Queen trades are welcome, especially when we're up a pawn. That's a bit awkward though. I mean, our knight is hanging, so we were probably like, oh, we got that. Rook e1 is possible. Threatening knight f6 check. Engine says rook a2 is better. It's very awkward though. So Yabadis is playing a position with equal material, safer king in an ending. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand this move. You've got a problem here where both of your pieces are not in the game. If I'm black, I'm definitely developing my bishop. So it's just not in the game. Yeah, you can't do that though. You're going to just drop the exchange. What should he play? This is a huge problem. Yeah, maybe he has to do what he did. Sad but true. Maybe he just has to get out of the fork. The best move was knight d5. A very precarious move. Obviously the bishop's on this diagonal, so natural fear with that. Rook e2, c3, bishop a5. Now the knight c7. Do we have something here? Anyway, we're going to get to the point. Bishop f4 hunting the rook. Bishop d7 developing. Rook f d1. And bishop c6. Black's catching up. Bishop h3. Greedy grab. He's expecting you to take. He'll take on f3. He won a pawn. But yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like Black had a lot of respect for king safety in this game. Now he goes on the attack with knight g5. Knight e4. Check. We're a little short of squares. I vote for king f8. King f8. King h8 was best. It looks like you're more likely to get mated in the corner, actually. King f8. Knight e4. Oh, that's sick. It felt, I mean, I feel for him, because it feels like, oh yeah, he should be safer on f8. But you've got bishop d6, mate. That's funny. Mate in one, in the middle of the board. On f6. Alright, Ibadas, kind of back and forth game. You're not trying for perfection, I know. Guys, welcome to the stream. We're going over subscriber games. Next up, it's Princess. Princess, are you here? We've still got a bunch of games to do. Welcome everyone to the stream. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be doing Blitz games from 11. Short stream tomorrow. A short stream week on the morning streams due to daylight savings time. Good game, Ibadas. Thanks for sharing. Alright, so this is Princess. Where are we? Inbox. Do I have a game to torture your stream with? Alright. Ibadas' games are always fun. This is marching K9 against Princess Chess, your black. E4, E5, classical. Princess games are almost always classical chess, except for the occasional Banco Gambit. We have Bishop C4, Bishop C5. I try to be humorous and informative. Okay, it's a long game, so yeah, you like to send in long games. Miniatures only, please. Just the beginning? Okay, well, it's a classical opening. D4, take. Now, we're in the classic Joko, and you didn't play Bishop E4 check. Yep. This looks like Morphe versus NN simul game or something. Bishop E6, like, that's not a very common move. It is here on lichess. 14,000 games of Bishop E4 check. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, you can't give up your center here and do this. Guys, you have to play this. Dubov. Wow, the Dubov variation has been played. That's insane. The Dubov variation has been played in what? Like 1,500 games. Did Dubov find the Dubov variation on lichess, or did he invent that himself? Anyways, CD4, that was Dubov Karyakin. Bishop B6, question mark. Come on, I mean, you have to know, like, fundamental theory of the... This is the oldest opening in the world. Do yourself a favor. Buy 500 master games of chess. Put it on your coffee table. Look at game in there, like, every month or so, starting from chapter 1. I tell people all the time, even though I'm not a classical player, that's still the #1 book I would buy if I was trapped on a desert island. The first chapter is the Joko Pianissimo. And all the greatest games, you know, before 1950 in the Joko that were ever played. So Tartikover considered this to be like the most formative opening in chess. Um, but I mean, bishop e4 check, only move. There's no question. Okay, whatever. You want to give him a chance. Bishop e6. Yeah, I mean, no wonder the guy made a mistake here. Nobody ever does this. So it's hard to decide. I mean, white has d5, e5, or none of the above. All of which are probably good. I vote for, like, castles. I think castles looks good, and then we'll see what happens next. Now, maybe seriously, he shouldn't give you a chance. This is the most violent move, e5. Because there's no knight d5. It looks like you have to play d5. I hope you would have found that. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes bishop. I mean, pawn takes knight, pawn takes bishop. This is interesting. A bunch of blitz games. But it's deadly, right, if white takes here? This is in a normal position. Rook g8. How are we doing? Ooh. It's not great for black, but it may not be that bad. Interesting. Wow. So this is the secret move, d5. Most people maybe not patient enough to find that in-between move. It's so tempting to take on g7, and it's a mistake. I mean, we're never going to see this position again in a real game. But that's instructive. That basically busts black, I guess. Because you're dead. You know, the point is, right, the point is, like, check, you have bishop e6. I mean, that's always the point. You can block the e-file with a piece. Once this happens, though, black's ability to block the e-file checks is lost. And therefore, he's probably lost. What's he going to do? It's hopeless. It's just hopeless. This move does nothing. Just develop your knight. And you're back in the same situation again. Yeah. Alright, so that's destructive. Castle's also natural mistake, but you have time to castle. There's still a chance you can survive now. Much better chances for survival. So castles. Castles. No, he didn't play castles. What? Oh. White played knight c3. That's lame. I could forgive him for castles, but I can't forgive him for knight c3. Alright. Knight c3 a little slow. You get away, and then he castles, giving you all the time in the world. Now black can play like knight to c4 and he's fine. Or she's fine. There's actually games here. Princess Chess and everybody. What you have to understand is that this is the reason why black is busted. You know, those pawns, if you allow white to have the super center, then black is in big trouble. But if you can destroy the super center, you're not worse. So if it's not knight takes c4, you've got to find a way to break up a center, d5 as a pawn sack. This isn't even bad, probably. But the point is, Princess Chess, you're not understanding the heart of the thing. You know, why are you in trouble here? And how can you prevent that problem? I would think like bishop takes d5, actually. That was never played in any of those blitz games. That's got to be the best try, though. No, the computer doesn't agree. ED5, this doesn't solve all our problems. Yeah, that's ugly. I would play knight e7. Okay, so this is the only move that really knocks out his center. Or he could play it like a Muller attack, maybe. But the point of the Muller attack is like white's trapped black's king on e8 in the main line of the Muller attack. It's not as bad here. Our king, you know, our king isn't like pinned, or we're not pinned on the file. It's funny that this is like a theoretical position almost. No, d5 is similar to Muller attack. Knight c3, bc. Knight e7, d6, takes. Yoda had a game there. I'll take white. You shouldn't get in this position any times, Princess Chess. This is not even, you know, this is 4-year-old kid stuff. This should never happen, let alone like getting this position many times. I hope not. This is a tempting move though for white. Look how many games these people have played online. So we're expecting h6. Bishop g4 is reasonable. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the engine. It's shocking how many games are played in like Bullet or whatever. Let me see, is Bullet turned on? Yeah, I had that on. Yuck, don't use the lichess unless it's turned to master database, which is not functioning. So now what is white supposed to do? Yeah. Sacrifice the d4 pawn. You could go symmetrical here with knight takes d4. Bishop f3. Amazingly, black is a plus score on 9. And bishop takes d4, defending your f6. Yeah, this reminds me of some kind of like 19th century game, honestly. It looks like a Steinitz Simul game or something. Rook ad1. Reasonable. Very romantic play by white, I have to say. And then bishop e5. Well, I mean, I don't know. What do we do here? I don't want to play this position. But can we play h6? Can we play h6? Seriously? h6, dare you to take it. Bishop h4 and then g5. Maybe I'll take my chances with this. Show me the money. Where is the win for white here? Wow. Computer wants to sack a piece. Check this out. HG. Rook takes d4. Yeah. Equal material. King g7. Hanging on by a thread. Rook dd1. And your king side is opened up. Yep, white has a resource there. So wonder what the best was. After bishop e5, this is... I still would have played h6 though. I don't think that h6 can hurt you too bad, even if g5 doesn't work. Yeah, white is just slightly better. It's a tough game. Anyway, we'll see what happens. She said she made a funny blunder. This is not the game. You played bishop e5. I'm worried about the bishop getting trapped there. Okay, queen f5. Now knight d4. How bad can that be, right? Knight f6, bishop f6, bishop f6, pawn f6, knight f6. Oh no. I mean, doesn't white have like f4, your queen's attacked? Yeah. So white should play what? Queen g4 check? I mean, your play so far was reasonable. +5 for white. What am I missing here? I don't see it. Is there some sort of perverse way to get at the h7 pawn with the bishop d3 and rook d4 and e5? Rook d4 and e5. Let's just look at this for a second. Can I open up this diagonal? I swear I haven't looked at this. Oh man. I just have this gut feeling like something bad is going to happen real soon. What happens if this happens? Can black avoid getting mated here? How do you take? Take with the f pawn. Bishop d3. Queen here. There's no mate now. Why not knight f6 instead of e5? Maybe I missed something. There doesn't seem to be anything here clear. Knight f6 instead of e5? Are you kidding? This is protected. At this point we can quit the game. What are you talking about, JCS? This is the whole idea. My whole idea was to open this diagonal. I mean, f6 was protected. Oh, you have knight f6. I'm sorry. No, here. I'm sorry. You mean here. Yeah, I mean bishop takes e5. I said pawn takes f6. I'm sorry. You mean here. Yeah. But maybe bishop takes. I mean bishop takes, right? Oh, it's just mate. Right. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, this isn't mate, by the way. For whatever it's worth. It's not mate immediately. You have king g7, knight h7 check, knight h5, king h6. Well, where do you want to go? Is there a mate? Queen h7, king f6. Right. Here we go. Yeah, what did I say? Knight h5, you have this, and then this, and it's over. It's weird looking at the black side and trying to play for white. So that's the point. It looks like it's winning, right? Is that right? Yeah. The computer actually wants to do an obnoxious move order. Rook takes, and bishop d3. That's just rude. e5 is no good. I mean, this is winning. Yeah, either way, it's winning. But Princess Chess, yeah, pretty big disaster. Queen h5, c6, knight e3, knight e6. Are you gonna move your king at some point? Maybe. I would be like playing king h8 pretty much instantly on general principles here. I guess it doesn't matter. You're lost anyway. Next move. Wow. That's not even threatening. Oh, bishop e6. Okay. Anyway, what happened finally? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty nasty. Knight f8. Wei was a clumsy guy. Another defense. Dude, it was like you were playing Captain Evans or something. Himself. Check. Wei was a brutal attacker. Romantic. Never let the initiative slip. Finally, even his blunders don't lose. He made like tons of blunders and he's still winning. He's not only good, but he's lucky too. That's the best combination. Another blunder. He's like 16 blunders. That's awesome. He set the like world blunder record. And it's a draw according to the engine. Wow, what a position. This is awesome. And now you just come up here and it's a draw. Oh my god. Dude, you gotta win the pawn on e6. Here. That's the palm. Face palm. The worst move of the game. King f6 is a total face palm. How is white winning after bishop d6? I mean, I guess you have like king g4 possibly. Then you like rip the pawn on h2. And it's definitely a draw. Oh boy. Alright. Well, we're not going to see the rest. It gets ugly. It probably gets uglier after that. Alright. Thanks, Princess Chess. Another tale of tragedy. Astrobate is up. Our favorite Astrobate. Alright. Guys, we have a few games left. Astrobate VIP. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. We've got a little bit longer to go. Back tomorrow with some Blitz at 11 a.m. CEST. I've got to get used to saying summertime. It's summertime? What? What is White's rating? 2100. Yeah, he wasn't a bad attacker. He was just inaccurate. I mean, that's honestly pretty crazy. Look at this time control. 15 plus 10. White made 3 inaccuracies, 4 mistakes, and 9 blunders. Have you ever seen a 2100 make 9 blunders? I've never had a game where I made 9 blunders. Like maybe in like 3-0 time control. 9 blunders? Princess Chess had 7 accuracies, 3 mistakes, and 7 blunders. Seriously, that's like the blunder world record for a player like higher than 2100 in this time control. It is a sharp position, but it wasn't like, I don't know, the King's Gambit or something. Astrobate is up next. I like to be extra sarcastic and rude to the subscribers. Alright, Astrobate, what do you got for us? Oops, here it is. In the spirit of my accelerated dragon fiasco on Sunday, I would like to present my accelerated fianchetto, if I may, for Thursday commentary, please. Alright. Astrobate, how many blunders? No blunders? Look, Mom, no blunders. It's probably a fast time control. Astrobate has no blunders. Cesar Chavez versus Astrobate. Alright. Astrobate Black. We're working on the accelerated fianchetto, otherwise known as the accelerated dragon. E4, C5, knight f3, G6, D4, take, take, bishop G7, bishop E3. This is a funny move order. I mean, is there anything really wrong with bishop E3? Computer is giving it a dubious, of course, but what's the big deal? Can you play something crazy? This is an instructive mistake. Bishop C4, Queen A5, check. There was a funny game here. You guys can't see, it's not in the opening explorer is not working, but Eric Schiller had a game against Arapation or someone, some women IM, where he won a piece in like 3 moves. Rest in peace, Eric Schiller. It was like knight c3 or bishop d2. I can't remember. Was it this? It was something ridiculous, like bishop d2, queen c5 resigns, like losing a piece. But bishop e3, not quite as bad. By the way, just to clarify, If bishop c4, queen a5 check, c3 is not that bad. It's not good for white. It's a mistake already. White's lost all his opening advantage, but it's playable. Black's not worse. I mean, white's not worse here. It's still okay for white. He's still okay. But this move, I was wondering if there's anything concrete. Like queen b6, do we try to hit b2? So, I mean, it's possible there's some weird tactics here. Knight b5. I don't see anything convincing, though. From my perspective, not a big deal. I'm not sure I would even play queen b6. Yeah, the computer says just knight f6 and it's transposing to a normal opening. Why is it better for black? What? Knight f6, knight c3? Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Bishop e3 isn't dubious at all. Astrobate, are you analyzing that with like your mobile phone or something? What's the problem with bishop e3? There's actually nothing wrong with this move. It's funny, whereas like bishop c4 is actually a blunder of sorts. It looks like bishop e3 doesn't even like lose white's advantage. It's not a mistake at all, actually. Knight f6, knight c3, nothing we can do. Your iPad needs to rephrase its commentary. Take that back. I'm not a killer. I just have people murdered. That doesn't make me a killer. I didn't physically kill them myself. The definition of a killer is someone who kills people. Technically, you're wrong. But anyway, the semantics of the thing. Bishop g7, bishop e3. Knight c6, and we're back. Oh my god, no. Every day I have to see people doing this. Didn't we just look at something like this? Astrobate, did you show me this game? He had somebody who played this in the Marazzi with the pawn on c4. It seems even worse there. Now white can play maybe c3. The best is rook b8. I love this trick. Like rook b8, rook b1, rook b2. It's funny if you look in the lichess opening 14 games and black played queen a5 in almost all of them. Can you believe that? I mean, is that for real? What are these people? Queen a5? What happens if like bishop d2? Now you're not even winning material anymore. They had the forethought to play rook b8 and then they don't do this. Rook takes, bishop takes, check. Can our bishop get trapped or something crazy? Maybe there's more to it. Like the bishop can get trapped here with c3. I mean, I don't know. It's not enough for white. I mean, even if you have to crawl out here, it's probably okay. There's all these pieces are gone from the board. Black should be up a pawn. Astrobate's got to be careful about the move order, but now you're good. Once you can play pawn takes, okay. He did the same thing in a similar position, but now e5 is possible. You accidentally transposed into a known variation. Knight f6 is a mistake because white can play e5. So you can play queen c7, you can play this, you can play rook b8. Probably queen a5, though I don't love it because of bishop d4. Lots of good moves, but this transposes back into a known variation. Now e5, and now he doesn't play it. Now you're good again. Okay, this is an aggressive move. Maybe it's good. There's this like Serbian guy. He's a Hungarian from Serbia. Big Linba, who's an IM. Who's like playing Bullet and stuff. But I mean, come on. What kind of players, like title players, are playing this garbage for white? Do you know that this position is like +1 for black? This is the problem. Bullet chess is garbage. You know, it's like, that's not even real chess. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing that an IM is playing this position with the white pieces in any time control. Alright. E5. Probably a mistake. Overextended. Now knight g4. Knight d7. Yeah, he's not Chadeshi. It's a decent IM. But I mean, I don't understand how a title player playing such a garbage position for white. You know, it's just this mindless bullet stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, it's a waste. People like that wasting their time. Knight g4. Too much. Like, life is too short to waste your time playing bullet chess. I mean, seriously. If you're gonna play chess, at least like use your brain. Knight d7, knight g4. Great position for black. The e5 pawn is just falling. And this is just horrible. Great job. Great job. Game over. It's over. 2 bishops. Better pawn structure. Pawn up. Central pawn at d5. Safer king. I don't even know where to start. So at least white should castle, maybe. Life is too short for bullet chess. Yeah, Puzzle Storm is also a waste of time. Those are my 2 least favorite things about online chess. It's just garbage. Queen f3. Castles. And now white just lost his mind completely. The empty g4. Nice job, Astrobate. Played like a master. Except for your move order transposition in the opening. He senses the weakness on b2. Snap, and that's the end. I mean, now white's losing a piece. Very clean. Very clean and mature play. This looks pretty invasive, but I guess it's not that big a deal. You can just play bishop e2. So we have to be a little bit careful of the h-file. It's not completely over yet. What you want to do is trade queens here. Okay, so queen e2, bishop a6 maybe. You could take his rooks. I mean, you're already up a piece, objectively. Like, take. This should be a no-brainer. But I could see an argument for not even doing that. And it's completely over now. If you trade queens, there's no chance. Took on g6, allowed f takes, and then the d in the f file. Good job, man. Good game. Maybe he didn't see the maiden 4 or whatever. That's not important. I mean, it's important, but it's really not the most important thing, in my opinion. We get the job done, with no chances for the enemy to win. And I don't think he made any fatal mistakes or anything like that. It was good enough. This was a weird, like, scattered final approach. It looks like you're, here it looks like you're pushing him down the board like that. You should play rook d3. But then you suddenly switch to the other direction with rook g5. It's kind of weird. Astrobate's technique here in the final stages was a little shady. Alright, still a good game. Final analysis gave him 14 CPL, 1 accuracy, 1 mistake. Sumaher is up next. Guys, we got Sumaher, Turkey, and Ham. Just a coincidence. It's a pure coincidence. The last 2 games are Turkey and Ham, and don't make me hungry before I finish the stream, alright? What are the chances of that? I didn't eat a very big dinner, and I'm, getting kind of hungry toward the end of the streams. Please don't do that to me, guys. Alright, anyway. We don't want to get too fat on lockdown here. Okay, so Sumer. Sumer is white against Temoso. D4, knight f64, g6, knight c3, bishop g7. Dubious again. This has got to stop, man. They're just dissing the King's Indian. It's ridiculous. Can I turn that off? Do I have to see that? Some idiot automaton telling me the King's Indian is dubious? I agree, but it shouldn't be, it should be your choice to play this opening. See, the computer can't understand the practical advantages of playing the King's Indian. That's the problem with computers. There is no... Well, maybe like artificial intelligence could figure it out. But the point is, like, we're trying to get white to overextend himself. Don't tell anybody. It's hypermodernism. There's a practical advantage. We know that bishop g7 is not theoretically as good as taking the center. We don't need this, like, dubious here. That's silly. I want to turn it off. Well, I mean, everybody is against the King's Indian. Kasparov gave it up. Naka doesn't play it anymore. Slowly less and less players at the highest levels. I agree, it's hard to play, but still, there's a practical purpose to it. It's hard for white, too. You have to be extremely skilled to get an advantage and exploit it against the King's Indian. Castles, h3, and now rook e8. That looks like a Kakatiri move. Kakatiri, I don't think submitted a game, but he's played something similar against me. His move wasn't as bad as this, though. Normally a normal square for the rook. Bobby Fischer, again, if we go back to classic books. Did I mention 500 Master Games of Chess? Well, that was before Fischer. I think the latest game of 500 Master Games of Chess was like the early 50s. But another classic book is Fischer's My 60 Memorable Games. And that would be in my top 10. Fischer, of course, has a game against Letelier where it's like e5, 98. I mean, this is Fischer's move order. Most people play d6 on move 4 because they're uncomfortable allowing e5. It's just kind of funny that your opponent, he goes out of his way to play the Fischer move order. We'll call it the Fischer move order, allowing e5, 98, because obviously like knight h5 loses a piece to g4. And then he plays like rook e8. That's the only square you're, I want to break this news to you, dude. The only square your knight can go to in this position is e8. So after rook e8, you're losing a piece to e5. Both of you guys should be hanging your heads in shame at not knowing, like, fundamental My 60 Memorable Games stuff. I mean, we can derive this from My 60 Memorable, one of the top 10 greatest, important chess books in history. You can excuse yourself, though. I mean, nobody ever plays rook e8. Now we know why. Rook e8, and then I don't believe you played f3. It was a mouse slip. You have to be making a mouse slip, right? Because clearly if you wanted to play the same-ish... sorry, guys, if I messed up the board. Sumer, seriously? You played f3? If you want to play the same-ish, play the same-ish. If you want to play the Makaganov, play the Makaganov. Why are you playing both? f3 looks like a mouse slip. Like you were trying to play f4, but you dropped it on f3. f4 doesn't look too bad, actually. We have a little softness in the king side, but I mean, black's position is so slow, it's maybe not a big deal. This is ugly. f3 is ugly. It makes me shudder, like the weaknesses on these diagonals on the dark squares. Never ever do h3 and h3 and f3 together, you know, that early, or ever. Preferably never do that. That's terribly ugly. I mean, there are instances of doing g4, but like, then we're going to need to play h4 anyway, so we wasted time. It's overlap. You have like over control of g4, e5, d5, and then you have a standard position where white has played h3 and black has played rook e8 for no reason. Both are bad moves. Knight h5. The rook is better placed on f8, sport f5. Classic. Yeah, now... well, maybe it's not too late to play... Maybe it's not too late to play like g4, then allows knight f4, I guess. It's not the end of the world, though. This looks really awkward. h4. I mean, I'm considering h4 and g4 primarily for white now. You know, you could also do a Korchnoi and you walk your king out to the other side. This may not be so bad, like knight e2. Actually, you don't even need to do that. I mean, I guess this is the best move. Yeah. Your main problem is knight g3. You know, we don't have to be crazy and do like king d2. It's not that bad, actually. You can walk over here, like in Mr. Slowhand's game from the beginning of the stream. But, I mean, here you have like bishop f2, so there's no problem. You're just like failing to control g3. Oh my god. Not good. Obviously, to have your rook on h4, h2. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm saying crazy things. And his knight is sort of stuck there, but I mean, that's, you know, bigger problem with your rook. So f5 looks correct. And you took. I don't think I would consider taking. I don't know. I mean, my biggest problem is your knight, you know, his knight being on g3 in your face. Get rid of it. Why don't you castle queenside here, actually? It's normal and the same-ish. Under the circumstances, maybe not so bad. You took. I feel like that helps black a little bit. He takes with the pawn. And that's like good for black. Your only chance is probably castle's queenside. Computer says bishop g5. Okay, that's a move too. But I would think you castle queenside. You can challenge his knight with knight e2 later, and maybe it's not that bad. But I don't like my king on f1. On the other hand, if black isn't active enough and accurate enough, you might get out of this. But the problem isn't your king, it's your rook. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about f4. It's very committal. And it gives the e4 square. Wouldn't be my choice. I understand g3 or g4. You want to break his pawns up. Your rook is trapped in. It's ugly positionally, but maybe it's the right decision. It's bad for your structure, but you need to get this rook back in the game. So I adhere to that. You got nice control of e4. You could move your king in the corner, or you could go... Well, I guess now you have to move your king in the corner. Maybe you can stay in the center if you can lock down the e4 square. But you got to be thinking about your king position primarily. Bishop g6. And I like keeping control of this. But we're going to have to watch the f-pawn as well. You know, you have another idea here, h4. Maybe you can actually make your pawns great again. Maybe you can make your rook active from where it stands with h4. Opportunistic move. This was hard to see. That wasn't part of the original plan, but I like your position. White's probably better now, ultimately. Because you have no bad pieces, right? King g2 and bring your other rook over. Possibly hide your king in the corner, but again, this is the problem. He'll tie you down to f3. You're going to have to keep that protected. It could be a little tricky. Knight on ge4, not developing. Losing time. King h8 is a good move. Now you played h4. Queen d7. What about his other pieces, huh? The natural queen d7. He's looking for queen f5, I guess. Have you seen my queen f5? Kind of awkward. He plays queen d7. Yeah. Oh man, how did this happen? Black is sitting there like, I can't believe this happened. This is ridiculous. The guy played h3 and f3 and I'm like lost now. The guy must be like killing himself. It's unbelievable. Where did my position go? Bishop f5. I mean, to be honest, like his rook never belonged on e8 and he still didn't sort out his queen side. But I mean, it was a really, really strange game by white. Bishop f5, h6. And he just drops a piece. Well, the alternative is bishop f8, allowing knight f6. Winning the exchange. So he's lost anyway. That was a weird game. Check. Takes. Now he's down a piece. And this should be pretty easy. Nice. H-file you got there. Bishop f6 check. Oof. Winning a queen. I thought you were winning a queen. You're not winning a queen. Wow, he's got a slick defense there with king g8. That's nice. Just a rook goes. Oh, you missed rook h8 check. Man, that's a tough move to answer. Wow. After rook h8 check, do you have more? Maybe. Rook h8 check, king f7, rook h7 check. It might actually be better to go for the knight instead of the rook. You let him off the hook. But I think you still got it under control. Alright, this is winning. Shouldn't be any question here. The technique looks a little shaky. You're losing the d6 pawn. Please don't lose any more. Yikes. I don't like the way this is shaping up. You're very, very close to messing this up. It got a little out of control, but it's close enough to take it down. Alright, that was a little bit weird, that endgame. Definitely need to work on the endgame. Should have been an easy win with no complication whatsoever. It got a little funny. Turkey Farm is up next. 2 last games, guys. Yeah, that was really crazy mistakes in the opening. E5 wins a piece, and then you played H3 and F3. Really weird. Alright, thanks for submitting. Guys, thanks for subscribing. So Turkey Farm, an old friend here. Testosterone. Interesting game recently played against the Smith Mora man. In the rapid pools, somehow I seem to do pretty well against him, considering, and I really should have had this one. This is Testosterone versus Smith Mora Specialist. The Master of Mock, whatever that is. Alright, Testosterone is white. It's also unbelievable that someone who plays the Sicilian plays the Smith Mora Gambit with white. That's embarrassing. You should be kicked out of the Sicilian Players Union. How can you do that? That's not normal. Is there a good player on those small piece coordination techniques? I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind. A little tired here. Is there a good book of those small piece coordination techniques? No nonsense. What do you mean there? There's very little out there, really, I think, in the history of chess literature on coordination. I actually thought of, if I ever wrote a chess book, it might be a good subject. I'm sure somebody's done something, but I don't know. It's a kind of vague subject that is difficult to write about, and I think that most people have avoided. I think that Dorfman, a little bit. The method in chess, but I mean, I don't know specifically if you're referring to like coordination in the endgame. E4, C5, Knight C3. I don't know of any good books that have been written specifically on coordination of the pieces. So Testosterone specialty, Bishop E5. This move has given me fits. I've even played it a few times with white, but I was never specialist enough. You know, I played it in the beginning when it was like new and no one really knew it as a surprise weapon in like 2 or 3 games, but I never knew it deeply myself. Testosterone plays this a lot, and Morales is playing it against me a lot. It's an annoying line. So, but now Knight D4, and you play Knight F3. The other move is Bishop C4, and I guess I started playing A6 now against Morales. It's probably the best try. Well, I mean, Knight F3, Bishop E5 is normal in the Roslimo. But this specific variation of the closed Sicilian, where we're doing it with Knight C3, Knight C6, Bishop E5, I don't recall it ever really being played pre-2000. I think, like, the first time I really saw this played by strong players was probably about 20 years ago. It was basically some sort of side variation that was never seriously considered that much until the early 2000s. My first game with it was like in 2003. The thought was always that, okay, white doesn't have c3, so knight d4 is just a good move. But it's not so easy. You know, black doesn't gain any time, really, with development. If white plays knight f3 and trades the knight on d4, he's kind of getting a tempo back. This is the other way to play it, though. Knight f3 and then taking... I have a million games against Turkey Farm, mostly Morales, Mule Skinner. We have like I've had like 3 or 4 players on my stream who repeatedly play this variation a million times against me. Years and years ago, no, I'm thinking of something else. No, this variation, okay, what's up with d5? Maybe we need to think about this again. What's the deal with d5? d5, pawn takes pawn, a6, knight c3, knight f6. What if we play it like the What if we play it like the Grand Prix attack variation? No, this is bad. Just bad. What do you think about this? Knight f3, knight takes b5, takes d5. I mean, this is our best. I saw a game where Kudrin played this. I thought it was Kudrin. I can't remember now. But I like keep forgetting to try it. Maybe this is a good way for black to solve the problem. I mean, ultimately, maybe you'll have to go back to bishop c4. I don't see anything clear here. Knight d5, d takes c5, knight takes... Oh, what am I doing? How did I let that happen? I just took back. I'm sorry. I meant this position, right? Sorry, guys. This is important. We have to do it this way. I'm sorry. I got crazy there. No, this is right, but black's fine here too. It looks like he has to be careful though. f6. The white square bishop's too strong. I just want to show you something. You know, in the main line of the classical Grand Prix attack or whatever, knight c3, knight c6, f4, turkey farm, you also play this. Bishop g7, bishop b5, knight d4, castles. In this version, take, d5, ed5. There's a lot of games. a6, knight c3, knight f6, d4. There's some games where white actually won here. Joel Benjamin, I remember winning a game. And I think I saw a game where Feingold lost or something. I don't remember who it was against. Feingold lost with black. I think Brian Smith lost against somebody like Joel. I played this position with black. I played this position with black against like Perlstein in a Blitz tournament in like 1998 or something. Some crazy 99 when he was like 2200 at my friend's house. I've known this position since like 21 years, 22 years. But there's some games where white actually like was able to win in this freaky endgame. Benjamin, the one I can think of. How different is this position? I mean, with the move f4 in, you know, maybe that's beneficial to white here. He gets this better control of e5. It's actually a improvement in a way. If we go to the line, the other line, where we're doing the same thing here, the fact that white hasn't played f4, it's like a kind of worse version. Bishop e3, e5. It seems like this pawn on c5. It's reminding me of the f3 Nimzo. Probably black holds a draw, you know, with accurate play. Anyways. Alright, so this is against the Smith-Morra genius. g6. Alright, so knight takes b5, g6 right away. It's a move, obviously. Dubious according to the engine. We don't trust that engine commentary. Thank you. So you go for it with d4. Wow. Bishop g7. So obviously, like queen a5 check. You can't. Well, I mean, you consider this though. Takes, check, knight c3. Black's probably okay after queen takes c5. He doesn't have to give up his bishop. So you played e5. That looks weird. Is this still home analysis? I've had games. Who else plays this? Zen Chess? I guess Zen Chess as well. That was the fourth person I was thinking of. E5 looks kind of weird because the white squares have little control, but it might still be good. You're so far ahead in development, you know. It's hard for black. What's he gonna do? He has to do knight h6. So he does this. Now your knight is hanging. You just develop. Okay. Queen a5 check, knight c3. I mean, he could play that though, right? That might actually be a constructive move. I'm not sure. I mean, is it bad to play queen a5 check? It's sort of a developing move. I'm not really sure. He could definitely do this right and play like d6. What's up? You've got queen d5 with a better endgame. But it's interesting. So takes here. Castles. White's way ahead in development, and the knight isn't great on h6. You got like just classical total control of the center. I mean, look at White's control of the center here. It's like he owns every single square. How can you not be better if you own the center? And I guess he could try b5. For example, trying to get the bishop to b7. This also gives you spike threats. Give black some b4 ideas. So he played d6, more direct, developing, which is normal. Apparently knight f5 is the best move. It's a little surprising. No, it's between b5 and knight f5. I don't know, we can't believe the engine, but I think this is an interesting move too. Trying to get the bishop to b7 to control those white squares. d6 is a blunder according to the engine. So you had some strong attack. Takes, queen h4, bishop g7, and like rook a d1. You're just like, two knights versus two bishops, dude. Knights are better than bishops. You don't know that? Just like this guy that there was a guy on my YouTube channel who was arguing with me that the knights are better than bishops. I gave up, you know, I give up. But it's true that the two knights coordinate better than the bishops. When they're together in a group, grouped knights are superior. Then the lone knight versus bishop, which is always like more easy to dominate. This is still a pretty good position for bishops, though. He has open lines. Two knights better than bishop and knight usually. Speaking of coordination of the minor pieces, secret of chess. Two bishops are often better than bishop and knight. So we've got, yeah, but I mean, yeah, you don't really want to play bishop h6. It's a weird move. You're like, I don't want to take a stupid knight on the side of the board. So you play bishop f4, developing. Here or here. That's a beautiful square, though. It's so central. And it stops b5 for a moment. I would have seriously debated both moves. You don't really have any other... I mean, this is kind of ordinary move. Black can equalize on the spot with pawn takes c5. So I really like this. This queen d3 is stupid, too. This was your mistake, man. I mean, after this, what are you going to do? He's taking on e5. Your advantage is gone. You can't allow him to trade queens and have an endgame. You got to play queen e4, actually. You can't play this. Someone I saw recently at a game where they did something like queen a4 where the queen is out of position. This is good, man. You keep the queen on the board. Queen and knight combination, another coordination secret. Maybe we could get an endgame with queen and knight combo. This looks fine though. You're still okay, at least equal. It looks like here you lost it. Yeah, he bails into an endgame and you have to trade. I didn't see this though. That was your idea, to take back with the knight on d3. Esterman plays knight d6. It's like ridiculous. That's a ridiculous move. Is it like some sort of thing where he doesn't want to trade queens because he's a tough guy, or? I think that he's good in the endgame. I mean, after queen 63, he has to be slightly better. Why would you refuse? Like, why would black refuse this exchange of queens? He can only be better here with two bishops. It's like +1. I mean, you know, maybe he just doesn't have enough confidence in endgame, or he's just obsessed with direct attack or something. This seems unreal. I would scold someone for playing that move. That's like you don't have confidence in your endgame, or you're just like mental, and you can only directly attack. Like, can't make natural transition to. So that's just a strange move. Rook d1, bishop f5, queen e2. I don't know about e2. You have a lot of squares to choose from here. That's a tough call. It's a square. It's in the center. Rook c8, g4. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not down with g4. Dude, I had a game against someone on Sound where I did something like g4, man. You can't play g4. I don't like g4. That's insane. This is like a vacuum around your king on the white squares after you play g4. It's not immediate, but I think in the long-term effect, this is a really, really, really risky move. There's no way I'm playing that against a strong player. Maybe against my little cousin who's like 8 years old, I'll just like troll him with g4. This seriously looks way too loose. But I realize you've got to do something. You know, if we go back a moment to the previous position, I mean, if you play like queen e3 or queen d2, queen e3 drops your c2 pawn. I don't know if you have tactics, maybe. I don't think so. So queen e2. Can we try to play for bishop h6 and trade the bishop off? Probably there'll be some sort of tactic. We'll never get it. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. So it's an interesting game, but I don't like g4. Maybe it won't matter. Esterman's still tied up. Just be aware that that move could have catastrophic long-term weakness effects. I've lost many a game due to g4. c3, the natural follow-up to g4. Queen a5. And now you win a pawn. Check. Well, temporarily. I was actually expecting bishop takes e2. That would be more natural, no? Like pinning you to the c5 knight? Okay, I don't want to overthink 20-minute game or whatever it is, 20-second game. It seems weird, you know, he could have played bishop e2, like obviously pinning you directly to e5. This is a playable move. He grabs a pawn. And then what about f6? He didn't play that because Ben Feingold said it's bad, or how does f6 not work? You have bishop h4, g5. You have a tactic, knight g6. Nasty. Doesn't that lose a piece? You're losing a piece here. What? Are you serious? What? You're losing a piece. I mean, I didn't check with the engine. There's probably something here. Maybe it's something simpler. It's not knight g6. You might have something else, though. It's got to be something simpler, like knight f3. I don't know. Not my favorite move, though. Anyways, there's probably a tactic. Knight d7. Of course. Knight d7, obviously. Esserman saw that. No, I don't know. Rook there. Yeah, he's got two bishops in g4. See, g4 is going to cost you, man. You know, you're going to pay for that g4. Even though I kind of dislike him, he's not a bad player. He managed to draw most of his games against me. Rook d4. Queen a5. Oof. Going for the fork. And you thought you had him? And it looks like you do. What? But he has this check at the end? And then f1? You're winning. And bishop h6 is double question mark. Who would have thunk? Okay, it's time pressure, but you have a minute left. You just rook takes c4. Tempting move. He's got perpetual. Alright, still a good fight. Back to the last game. Alright, this is from... We've had turkey, now we have ham. Last game for today, back with Blitz tomorrow at 11 a.m. Alright, ham's game. Let's see if we got something here. Truth always wins. This is the one I actually won. Oh, versus Chescudo. Chescudo comes to the stream sometimes. Alright. This is Spam the Ham Arena. You're playing black. Wow. Yeah, Chescudo was saying how he got to his peak rating or something last time he was here. Guys, I gotta go. Almost done. B3. The Kudo. It reminds me of Cujo. Cujo the dog. B3, E6. Bishop E2. Knight F6. Not an exciting defense. But nothing's really like that exciting against B3. He's doing double fianchetto now. Okay, whatever. What is he playing? The hippo? Now you played C6. I mean, so far, whatever. It's a slightly passive defense, but it's okay. But I don't know here. I mean, C6 seems like it's a little too passive. At this point, you don't have that many options. I mean, it looks like A5 is interesting to try to do like a lobster grab on the queen side with like A5, A4. I've played A5 on move 1, man. You know, I've seriously played this. This is not a joke. Like, good players have played A5 on move 1. I mean, that move can really be effective against B3. But I'm saying that that's a legitimate thought here. You know, he's playing this rope-a-dope, hippo or whatever. It's not that great for white. You can kind of do whatever you want. What's a Lord of the Ring reference? Kuda? Really? Are you serious? Who's a Lord of the Ring reference? The other option is B6. So I think I like this better. To just go bishop B7. Kind of complete development. And finally, like, of course, the natural C5. C5, knight C6. This looks kind of passive to me. So what was the time control? 5 plus 5. Now, strangely, after castles, you blundered with e5. You're actually dropping a pawn here, and you didn't pay attention and didn't take it. I don't see any compensation. After e5, bishop takes. I mean, yeah, you could try something like this and go nuts. I don't know, bishop e2, bishop f6, but this is a pawn where I come from. Maybe there's some practical compensation somewhere, but not much. The double fianchetto, the twin towers, I get it. All right, you're making a Tolkien reference. Thanks. e5, no. At this point, I go with the a5 or maybe like knight on bd7. It was called the Twin Towers. Not politically correct now. All right, d4. Yeah, I mean, d4 is weird. You should take your pawn. Last game, guys. Now you take a space, of course. Better than this. Whoa, sorry. e5, d4, blunder, blunder, e4. Because I was going to say, I mean, it's better than this, right? We have a guy on my stream, Jim, who plays a lot of b3 games, and he'll usually go for this open diagonal. And, like, white has some chances there, so I like e4 better. And now c4, it's like a French. He can also play bishop a3, trading off his bad bishop in this structure. But I like your space. I don't like the way the white played it. This is another approach. This is buried. The only problem in this position, you know, is his bishops. His twin towers are deactivated. So, this normal plan, come down the C file. Maybe you have time to play something like A6, stopping knight B5. I don't know. His knight's kind of in the way on C3 too. I think that black's doing well. I would say black's better. Yep. The computer is crying that white is not worse. It's equal. But I don't really know, if I agree 100%. I think your position is, I like having more space. Maybe A6 isn't the best move. Stockfish likes this. Or knight A6. Interesting. But the hardest thing to do is play with a space advantage many times. Queen C2. Don't really like this move. I don't like giving up your bishop. I know it's a bad bishop, technically. And I know that he can play knight f4 and you might get stuck out there. But I mean, the computer's intention was to play queen d7, bishop h3. If knight f4, we can play maybe like bishop f3. I just hope that pawn doesn't fall. Hopefully we don't drop a pawn in this type of way. But I don't like this move. Just giving up your bishop for his knight on e2. Probably you're okay here, but that takes a lot of dynamism out of this. Knight e2, knight g4. I don't like this. You're not developing. Closed position, you can kind of get away with it, but still. I don't like bishop e2, and knight g4 is unprincipled. So I think it's time to get our pieces out. A little bit of stodgy position though now. Maybe it's like knight a6 is better to go here, threaten here. Yeah. That's not bad. He's going to have to play a3 and then it gives you time to get back to the center and reinforce. It's probably equal. This is against Chess Kudo. It's been on the stream. Knight g4, rook c1. And then you're playing with a very blatant threat. But again, we're not developing, which concerns me. Probably this exchange on e3 is a threat, though. He just ignores it. Wow. So this is a cocky move by white. You was looking right and he was looking left. You hit him when he wasn't looking. That's sweet. H4 is a crazy move, though. White didn't have enough care here. I think this is a legitimate threat of knight e3. Maybe he ought to be cautious and like protect or something. H4 though, he expected you to sack a piece here probably, and then like take, king moves, take here, and probably it's difficult to say who's better. Chances for both sides. But it was ironic that he played h4 and you hit him with the other move. I'm not sure if this works or not. It's kind of complicated. He has maybe bishop h3. What happens if bishop h3? Maybe queen g5. He missed it. That's the best move I saw with my eagle eyes. Always look for the forcing moves. My eagle eye spotted it. You're also not threatening anything. So this was actually a mistake. So you should have taken here, ironically. Knight fe, move the king, bishop c1. And then just says that white is slightly better. Alright, it's fair. But still you have protected paths or 2 pawns for the rook. 2 pawns and a rook for the 2 pieces. Not that easy. He misses it. Yeah, he's just being careless. Guys, be here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Bring your bits for a bit war on Friday. Yeah, Ham is black. He missed bishop h3. He was overconfident. But I mean, you gotta realize, like, after pawn takes h4, queen h4, you're getting mated in 1. What is he gonna do? Move his rook and allow queen f2 check? And, like, lose all sorts of stuff? That's what happened. This is a threat, and this is a threat. So just knight e3 is a simple win. I mean, this is the most straightforward. Double attack, winning his queen, and threatening mate. You played check, queen h2, and you won his queen the other way. This is also good. Another way to skin the cat. And now, my point, obviously, about the other pieces. You played with 2-piece odds against a 2100 rated player and beat him. But I wouldn't recommend doing that on a regular basis. I mean, those pieces need to get into the game. I try to advocate, really heavily principles. Still, good game to take him out. Rook e6, excellent move. Playing for the mate, and it's over. Yeah, this is strong. Did you have anything better? Rook f6 check was the logical. Yeah, you had rook f6 check. King e1, everything drops. That's funny though. You hesitated after playing rook e6. Now you got it, and it's over. You ever going to develop those other pieces? There you go. I like it. Queen and knight combo. Don't let that pawn. Yeah, he's threatening to win with rook c8 check. You're cutting it kind of close there. Too close for comfort. Phew. Dropped a piece, but you got one back, and now it's mate. Alright, good game, guys. Thanks everybody for subscribing and for being part of the stream. I gotta go, it's late here, time for dinner. I'll see everybody at 11 tomorrow. Thanks to Mr. Coffee, JCS for modding. Thanks for the compliments on my new look. I will see everybody bright and early, 11 o'clock tomorrow for Blitz here on lichess and Twitch. International Master William Pascal wrapping it up. Good games, guys. Thanks for submitting. Thanks for supporting the stream by subscribing, and your donations go to a good cause. No nonsense. Thank you for that. Speaking of donations that go to a good cause, 100 bits from No Nonsense. Appreciate it. Every little bit counts. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks to everybody for being subscribers. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Don't forget, you can check out my YouTube channel for replays. If you want to see the stream at a later date, I do upload everything video chess training on YouTube. Check out the Discord as well. I will see you guys later. Pub Sladgie on Discord. Later, guys. Bye-bye.